welcome to Game 1 of the World Series Fox Watch Party, man. We are so happy everybody is here. We've got Rick Ankiel in the house, Tino Martinez, Ben Verlander. We've got some amazing guests showing up tonight. Let me think here. Cody Decker's going to be here. Matt Leiner's going to be here. Jake Odorizzi is going to be here. And, of course, Eric Karros is going to be here as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be here for the entirety of the game. Thank you so much. Ben, let's hit it off, big guy.
Let's do this, guys. Game 1 of the World Series. I got my friends here ready for some action. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Game 1, World Series. Let's go around the room, get some predictions, guys. Swish, what you got for this series?
Hey, man, I tell you what, we're talking about two amazing teams, right? Both #1 seed, American League, National League. Hey, I had them here in my bracket. I'm sure these guys did as well. Two of the best teams in baseball. But for me, I've got the Los Angeles Dodgers in, right? I think Clayton Kershaw starting off Game 1, the adversity that the Dodgers have dealt with all season long, and for them to come back from a 3-1 deficit, right now they feel good. They haven't steamrolled anybody yet. I don't think they're going to do that to the Rays, but I will think the Los Angeles Dodgers win.
Rick, who you got?
Well, listen, I called the Dodgers in 6 on Game 7 last segment, but I will tell you this. After sitting around today, going over video, looking at stuff, I was on the fence. They're really, I think Tampa Bay, the way that they can play a game, produce, pitch, play defense, it made me question that. But at the end of the day, look, I think that the Rays are built. I think that a shortened season helped them, so to speak, because they can throw their relievers so much. They're kind of like starters. That's kind of unheard of. I think that the big three and their bullpen looked a little vulnerable to me in the last series against the Astros. I think the Dodgers, with their depth and that lineup, pulled this one out. I am also going Dodgers in 6.
All right, that's two of you guys. Two of you guys on the Dodgers. Tino?
That's my guy, Rick. That's my guy, Rick.
I got the Tampa Bay Rays in 6 games myself. I just think in this type of a series there where, again, there's no home field advantage, no crowd noise. These guys used to playing with an opener. The bullpens used to come in early in the games and succeeding. I think the Dodgers need more of Kershaw to go deep in the game for them to have a chance. If the Rays starter, if Glass now comes out in 3 innings, the guys that are coming in are so used to that role all year long, and the last couple of years actually, and they can match up deep in the game with their the pinch hitters off the bench. As we all know, especially Nick and Rick, pinch hitting is the hardest thing to do in baseball. And these guys do it all year long because they're always platooning and playing off the bench and coming in for big situations. And they're used to that. So I believe they're going to succeed and find a way to win this series in 6 games.
I'm with you, Tino. I got the Rays in 6 to even us up across the board. We're split 50-50. I got the Rays in 6. I've actually had the Rays winning the World Series since spring training. They were my pick to win it all. I'm doubling down. I'm picking them again. I just think they have the unique ability to match up with anybody in the lineup. You know, if you got 3 guys coming up that struggle with the heater up, they got somebody that can come in and do that. If you struggle with the slider, they got somebody that can come in with a big sweep and slider and get you out. I just think they have a unique ability to match up with any and every team and any and every player on that team. And for that reason, you know, you never want to play a team that if you get to the 6th inning and you're losing, you feel like you're going to lose the game. And the Rays are that team. If you get down early, you don't come back and win that game. So I'm picking the Rays here in 6. And we all got them in 6 games. We all got the series going 6. Let's see if we can get that right.
Yeah, it's the fair call, bro. It's hard to pick somebody in 5 games because that just seems like that's utter domination. And nobody's going to say somebody's going to get clapped. I think these two teams, right, we talked a little bit about it before, you know, these two teams haven't faced each other at all. And for them to have that, right, there's some freshness to this series. But I think right now, man, Dodgers, bro, 3rd time is a charm. 3rd time they've been to the World Series in the last 4 years. It's about time they break through, right? Dave Roberts has been given the keys to the Lamborghini, right? Hasn't quite finished the race, but this year I think he gets it done for sure. And I can promise you this. I know Los Angeles is still shut down, but they will open up the gates and party if the Dodgers win this thing. No doubt about it.
I thought he had the keys to a Ferrari. So last time he had the keys to a Ferrari. Today it's a Lambo.
Like, come on, tomato.
Hey, you know, for those very reasons, you know, Tito, like you said it, the Rays invented the bullpen game, right? They did. They invented the moving around parts and whatnot. And those are the things that put me on the fence. Like I said, I chose the Dodgers after the Braves series. And then when I dug into that, I'm like, man, these Rays can do a lot of different things. But when I look at the Dodgers, you look at even their bench, right? Let's go KK, the at-bat he had, and then the home run. And then Jock Peterson. we see him just starting to flip balls to left field. He is so dangerous in the postseason. You go back and look at these guys' numbers in the postseason, man. Wow, right? He's dangerous. There's no question about it. So I think when we look at look at the long game and how this series would probably progress. Another thing you said, Tino, it is a big deal for Kershaw tonight, right? Because I don't think the Dodgers are really set up to play a bullpen game. And that's going to happen in game 2 if Kershaw can't get through the innings. But just watching it, looking at it, I just think in the end, the Dodgers' depth is so deep that they pull this out.
I mean, that's a good point there. I think one thing that the Rays do have to do is what they did against the Astros, and that's play good defense. And they played unbelievable defense the entire series. And although they lost a few games in the middle there, their defense kept them in the games, gave them a chance late in the game, and they have to play good defense again against the Dodgers this whole series to have a chance. But I really do like the chances, and I feel like they're the underdog as always against the Yankees, against the Astros, against the Dodgers. Like I said, they don't care who they're playing. They're just trying to win 4 games, and they don't care who's on the mound or who they're facing at the plate.
Swish, you made a good point. You said these teams haven't played each other, and they haven't. And wouldn't you think that's an advantage? I think we can all agree that the Rays have the better rotation and bullpen. Like their whole the pitching staff for the Rays is better. Wouldn't you say that would be advantage Rays not having played each other, because the Dodgers haven't seen these guys' arms? And I think there's a big I think that matters when you're a batter and you haven't seen a guy. I think that's a big factor. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. But I think you got to remember, man, the Los Angeles Dodgers have been here before, right? Players that are on this team that are playing in the game tonight have been here multiple times. So I think the familiarity with the actual situation right now is so huge for them, right? They know what's to be expected. They know the things that you're going to go through when times go tough in game 1 of the World Series, right? They know what it's like to win. They know what it's like to lose. And I think at the end of the day, losing 2 World Series back-to-back leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Bringing over Mookie Betts, that was my guy. I think he is going to be the X factor that really takes this team over the top. He played well in the NLCS, maybe not with a bat, but definitely with his glove.
Yeah.
This series, the World Series, when the lights are on the brightest, this is when Mookie Betts plays his best.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I agree.
I mean, he's worth $436 million, player, you know?
Hey, Ben, I gotta say, man, that's a great point, right? I do think the advantage goes to the pitching when they haven't seen them, because these guys do have as much video and analytics as anyone on the planet, and they have machines, because I've seen it, a pitching machine where you can go in and type in the exact numbers and get the exact ball flight that a pitcher would have, even on a slider, fastball, you name it. They can go in and see it, but it's not the same as getting out there and facing it. El mano, right on the mound coming to you, right? So I do think maybe it takes a bat or two that could give the Rays an advantage. Like we said before, I just think over the long haul, man, you talk about Mookie Betts, it's not just his on-the-field play, but it's the leadership that he brings. I think for the first time that he's, coming from Boston now and coming into the Dodgers clubhouse, he's really become a leader, and I'm with you. I think that's going to help Corey Seager, who, Seager might as well, you could put him in the running for the MVP. I mean, he's having an unbelievable season, and what are the Rays going to do? This is one of the factors that made me choose the Dodgers. If it's late in the game, what does Kevin Cash do, right? Who does he pitch around? Because the Dodgers are so deep. Who do you walk and get to the next 2 guys? That's a tough spot to be.
Yeah. I also think, though, as we saw the other night with Dustin May starting the game with Glasnow and Clayton Kershaw, because Clayton Kershaw, obviously one of the best pitchers in the game. I mean, clearly. And, again, it's game 1 of the World Series. There's so much excitement. There's so much energy in all the players right now that even the pitchers are the most important guys out there to really set the tone. And if Kershaw can get settled early on and find the strike zone, get his curveball over, same with Glasnow. Glasnow, he's a high-energy guy like Dustin May. And he's got an electric fastball and a huge slider. And if he can't find it early, then they get in trouble. But whoever gets settled early on the mound there, get to that first inning with ease, the second inning, then those are the guys who are going to have the most success and probably have a better chance to win the game.
So here's a fun stat, guys. As Kershaw's taking the mound, getting ready to throw the first inning, Clayton Kershaw is 12 Ks away from tying the MLB postseason strikeout record held by Justin Verlander.
Oh, hey, JV, he wants to get back there, bro. He wants that title. He wants that record. But that's amazing, man. I think that just goes to show you how long Clayton Kershaw has really been around. I think the narrative is all about how good Clayton is during the regular season, but how he struggles sometimes in the postseason. That stat right there should let people know that, hey, sometimes he may have a bad inning, but collectively, he's punching people out left and right. And I think the way that he pitched this season, I think he's over the back spasms. I think he comes out and does exactly what Dodger fans expect him to do, and that's go out and pitch well. Every time Clayton takes him out, he has the stuff to do that. I think now he is more motivated than ever to change that narrative, because if he has a great World Series this year, all that stuff goes away.
Yep.
Have you guys heard this? So I was talking to a couple of veteran hitters, and they were telling me right now it seems like all the guys are throwing so hard, right, that they're getting so used to just gearing up for a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that guys that can actually come up and pitch in all the four quadrants, see kind of where Kershaw is, right? He's not the 93, 94 guy anymore. He's kind of down the 80s, but it's seam cut, and he can pitch. I've heard that those guys are almost becoming harder to hit because they are so used to gearing up and getting ready.
Let's do this, fellas. And we're off.
Hey, Rick, you're the only pitcher in here, bro. Tell us the emotions, right? Tell us the things that are going through a pitcher when he takes a mound in such a huge game like this.
I think it's all about slowing it down, right? Trying to just focusing on the glove and keeping it as simple as possible, trying to execute that pitch. Your heart's going 100 miles an hour. A lot of times that first pitch is the biggest pitch you can make. Can you throw a strike? What are you trying to do? The first hitter, right? It sets the tone, like you said. It sets the tone. Just as if you're a leadoff hitter, how does that set the tone for your team? Right? What are you up there trying to do?
100%.
All right, so let's run through some questions here, guys. Swish, you're up first. How many total runs do you think will be scored in this game?
Yeah, I think I said 6 or 7. I think I'm going to go with 7. I think that's a good number right now. I think you're talking about two dominant pitchers, right? Glasnow's absolutely filthy, electric stuff. And Clayton Kershaw's the crafty guy, right? I mean, he's still 92, 91, 92. But I think at the end of the day, we get a bunch of solo homers, right? A bunch of strikeouts, just like every other big league game that goes on right now. But I definitely think 7 seems like a pretty good number for me. And I got to get my Postmates, man. My Postmates is coming. I got food showing up to the crib. I got to take this call. I got to find out what's going on. Canceled that one before, but it ain't happening again.
So, yeah, we all had some questions to answer before the game. So Swish goes with 7 there for total runs scored. Rick, your question is, how many total strikeouts will there be in the game?
I went with 21. Look, I'll just say again, look, Clayton might be the crafty guy, but Glasnow is so nasty. I mean, he has so much stuff. And the Rays just swing. They're almost homer or nothing, it seems like, even though they let off with a base hit there. Look, it just seems like either they go deep or they strike out. I was kind of looking over the total numbers. They've struck out a ton in this postseason. So I'm going with 21. I think when you look at the Rays also, their pitching staff, man, they got ability to do some nasty stuff. So 21 is what I'm going to go.
Okay. And then, Tino, we got how many runs will be scored after the 6th inning?
I think after the 6th inning, I would say 5. I think, somebody to score 3 or 2 or 4 to 1. That's where the games will be determined right there in the last 3 innings. So I think five runs will be scored depends on who comes in out of the bullpen and how long these guys go, the starters go, and we'll see from there. But I think 5 runs will be scored at least.
All right. So, guys, we saw there, we talked about the shift in Game 7, actually. First hit of the game, routine ground ball to second base, and nobody's there. Nobody's there to field it. So, leadoff single to start off the game. My question was, what will be the highest scoring inning? I went with the 6th inning, and the reason I did that is because when you look at Kershaw's numbers, if he gets into the 6th, is where historically in the postseason he really has started to struggle. So I kind of picked that inning just because if you stick with your starter, the 6th inning is where things can, you're back around to the 3rd time through the order. Things can start getting a little hairy. So I went with the 6th inning as the highest scoring inning of the game.
So I was curious to if the Dodgers were going to pitch around Randy Arozarena, because I figured that they would, but now that the Rays got somebody on base, you can see right here, Clayton actually has to pitch to this guy, which is as dangerous as anybody in this playoff series. Yeah. It's interesting to see how this plays out when possibly nobody's on base if they continue to pitch to him.
Yeah, 100%. And you got to remember this guy Arozarena came from Cuba on a raft when he was 19 years old. So he's been through so much tough times just getting the United States to even play baseball. This tonight is just another game for him. He's just gonna have fun. There's no pressure on him. He's enjoying baseball right now, and whether he's in the World Series or not, he could care less. He thinks he's in the backyard playing a game in Cuba or in Mexico. It's just another pitcher on the mound to him.
And as long as he's got his cowboy boots, he's good to go, T. He can
hit, man.
He is
He
good
can
to
see
go.
it, hit it. Basic.
Hey.
See it, hit it. He hits it.
Did you see that picture of him after he won ALCS MVP, kicking his boots up on the deck?
Man, hey, I'm telling you, Boot Barn, hit this man up, face of your company right there, Boot Barn.
It's the American dream, man. He's living the American dream.
It's so nice, man. It just kind of seems like he's just so laser locked, even on the pitches that he's taking, right? He's in there. He's tracking that ball into the plate. And, you know, I think we can tell if a hitter's really seeing the ball or he's not. But I'm telling you, when you see guys, you know, taking those pitches and really tracking that ball into the catcher's mitt, that's a good place to be. Rick, Tino, Ben, we all know when we're feeling good, right, and we're seeing the ball well, we can track it the whole way. When we're not seeing it.
Yeah, but you talked about earlier, Ben, about the pitchers being out there a little jacked up and hyped up. Same with the hitters. The first at bat through the whole first game, they're all a little bit nervous. They want to get that first hit and get going. And a guy like a Rosarina, he's just having fun. He could care less if it's World Series. Like I said, he doesn't feel any pressure at all. Clayton Kershaw to him is a left-handed pitcher, a really good one, who has a fastball and a curveball, and that's what he's looking for. Basic stuff like that. He doesn't care how many games he's won in the past, what his contract is. He's looking for a ball to hit and kill it.
Yeah, I'm surprised right there. A guy on base, they still pissed around him. It didn't seem like Kershaw went in.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
So obviously, I mean, to me, now we can see the game plan is do not let this guy beat us.
Right.
But you called that, Rick. I mean, when you look at their lineup, there's he's the one guy when he comes up right now in that lineup that you can't let him beat you. You know, like I feel like with the way he's swinging the bat right now, if somebody else gets you, you're okay with it. But if he's the guy that you end up losing because you pitched to him right now, you're going to kick yourself in the butt just because of how well he's been swinging the bat.
You know, I heard in Houston that Maldonado went out and said, listen, we're going to pitch to this guy. I don't care how good he is. We're going to be able to get him out. And as we can see now, that was
that one worked out. That one worked out for you, bro.
Hey, you got to give your pitcher confidence, you know.
Well, it's crazy, man. It's like, you know, once again, Clayton Kershaw gets himself into jams, like right out of the gate. Like, it's like not even waiting to the second inning or the third inning. Like, we're already stressed out. Dodger fans are already sweating right now. And what else I think is great is, listen, Hunter Renfroe, he didn't even start that many games in the ALCS. And now all of a sudden you see him hitting in the cleanup spot right now for the Rays. Like you're saying, T, you brought up such a huge point earlier. These guys are used to being and adjusting to so many different situations that, like you're saying, like pinch hitting late in the game is nothing to the guys. That might be something that really pays off. I like that part for sure.
And when they hit the lineup too, you saw Yandy Diaz let off tonight. I mean, they hit everywhere in the lineup. They'll hit first, third, fourth, eighth, ninth. Every guy hits in every position in that lineup. To them, it's just another spot in the order and another at bat for them. They just used to it.
Rick, do you think it's in his head at all? Everybody has talked about his postseason struggles, and you can find some numbers that say he struggles, and some like he's 12 Ks away from tying my brother with all-time postseason strikeouts. But he's, look at this stat right here. He knows he struggles in the World Series. Do you think that's in his head? Do you think it's kind of, I need to get through this first inning, calm myself down, get through that, or do you think it's to him like, okay, whatever, it's just another first inning?
I think he's human, and I definitely think that he cares. And when you put those two things together, he knows what's going on. The pressure is going to mount, right? Even if he says, man, I'm not thinking about it, it's out there because he doesn't want that to be part of his legacy. And at this point, it is. And it doesn't matter how good you are, who you are, until you prove it on this stage. That's always going to be something that's mentioned and something that he's carried with. So I don't know if he's out there thinking I need to get through this inning as much as he's trying to simplify it and think about executing pitches and just, getting as far as he can go. But there's no way that you could just ignore it all the way. I mean, this is a day and age of information, social media. He knows that he needs to go out there and compete.
And he's being asked about it every day before the games, after the games. He's bringing up that same question about the last few years. He gets it all the time. He knows it, but he's a pro, man. He's a total pro. Kind of guy who won the mound, and once he gets settled down, he's gonna get going. And he's just, for example, first at bat there, ground ball to second base. Come on, that's a routine out normally, and most of the time, and nobody's there. So that's one out there, and then you go from there. It's just the way his luck has been going. But still, the guy's a pro, and he can handle this whole situation.
Well, that's a huge punch out right there. I see you on that shirt. Well, that's a huge punch out right there. I mean, by the way, he gets out of this inning. Right? I mean, like that could be that momentum to really kind of give him that, right?
100%. Yeah. Both pitchers. You got that first inning unscathed. it's a big confidence boost. You start to relax. You go, okay, where's this pitch? Let's go.
Yep.
Look at that stat they just showed for Margot. 1 homer in the right. Big play here. Nice play.
Woo, he got out of it, bro.
Ooh.
Wow. Woo.
Wow.
Huge, bro. That is enormous. That is a major, major win right there early.
A little double clutch there, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Little panic.
Bro, what if we pull a Lester, baby, and launch that thing in the first base dugout right there, bro?
Hey, as you guys know, any great pitcher, you want to get to them in that first inning because once they settle in, good luck. Right? They start to feel that rhythm. They feel the confidence. They feel their landing, their release point. Like then you're gonna have trouble.
I'm even thinking of Ben's brother. I'm thinking Justin, right? Verlander, bro. If you didn't get him early, it was over. Because at the end of the day, he got stronger as the game continued. I would much rather face him in the first inning than the 8th inning. He was only throwing 91 in the first. He was throwing 98 in the 8th. You know what I mean? He was one of those guys that was able to save the juice, save all that gas, and really kind of blow you away late in the game. When you would think he would be laboring, that was when he was really kind of elevated.
Hey, don't take some velo away from him. Back in the day, he was sitting 101 in the 8th.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's 2020, kid. It's 2020.
But Verlander
Was it 101 when you took him deep?
Well, maybe, bro.
He's always very calm and steady no matter what. He's not one of those guys who's like jacked up and hyped up, and he's just always smooth in the zone, and he never gets rattled like that, even if he has a bad inning. Whereas now we're going to see Glasnow come in, a young guy now in the World Series. First appearance in the World Series for him, a guy with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, nasty slider. Let's see how he settles his body down to get those strikes. This is a big inning for him right now. Probably the biggest inning of the game for him.
Hey, by the way, I saw that commercial right there for Ohio State football. We're back, boys. We are back. OH, boys, coming at you. Gonna take the national championship down, bro. Clemson, Alabama, it don't matter, bro. We coming for you this year, dog. This is our year. 2020, this is the Buckeyes year, dog. We're gonna take it down. It's been a minute, but we're gonna come back to it, bro. We're gonna come back.
No chance.
Chance, bro. Chance. What else I thought was pretty funny was Dan Mullins down in Florida being I want a packed stadium, bro, the whole 9. And then he got COVID this week, bro. I'm like, come on, bro.
And then today, 27 guys on the roster got tested positive.
Today. How does that even happen, dude? Like you can't talk like that and then like 4 seconds later you catch it, bro. And it don't even work.
Swish, what happened to your hair, dude? What happened to the hair?
It's all on your face.
Jeez.
Swish. Hey, Swish, do we have a guest coming in, or what we got here?
Yeah, we do, bro. Come on, man. One of my favorite guys on the planet, dude. Worked with him at Fox Sports. Obviously a Dodger legend. The 1992 Rookie of the Year, bro. Right? Best looking guy that Fox has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Eric Karros. Woo-hoo!
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
You already, man, oh man, you are rolling already. What's up, Tino? What's up, Rick?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Hey, man. Call
DK, welcome on in. I know you're a huge Dodger fan, and we wanted to bring you in here for the bottom of the first inning. Dodgers are coming up to the bat. So walk us through this Dodger lineup. Walk us through, some of the most. I know it's a daunting lineup, but walk us through what we got going here.
I mean, you got resiliency. That's what you have. And you're starting off with Betts, obviously probably the 1 or 2 best players in the game. Then we got Seager. I got to look and see you got Betts, you got Seager. I mean, he could be an MVP. Turner, I'd say, had the at-bat of the game in Game 7. And it's like everybody will go like, no, Bellinger did it or Kike did it. Dude, 3rd inning, 2 outs, down 2-0, 1-2. He ends up drawing a walk. Muncy doubles. Smith gets a hit, tie game. Then he makes a great defensive play the next inning. Otherwise, he ain't playing today. And that Turner's sick. What do we got? Muncy and Smitty. Muncy, I mean, he'll eyeball you to death, right? And then get one over the plate. He'll hit it out. Will Smith has been sick. That guy, he gets no love, right? And then just gets hit after hit after hit. You got Bellinger. I mean, enough said. Bellinger, you don't know what you're getting. You can get this way up here, or you're going to get this way down here. You just don't know what's coming. And what do we got? We have who's there after that? Was that Taylor? I don't even know.
Yeah, we got Taylor. I think Taylor and Pollock. I think.
No, but Taylor, Barnes. You got Barnes, Peterson, Jock Peterson. Don't sleep on him. That dude, he'll run into one, man. God dang.
Well,
it's a tough line up the pitch, man.
Eric, Josh Peterson, the way he's hitting them home runs right now, kind of reminds me of the way you took me deep in spring training back in '98. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but see, so you said it, though. Spring training. I guarantee I didn't get you during the season when it counted. Probably like Maddox. Let me hit him all the time in spring training and shoved it up my you-know-what during the season.
It counted in my mind. I'm still bitter about it.
Still bitter, bro. He's still holding on to that. Man.
Tino, we got another Greek guy on here, huh?
That's right, baby. That's right. Got to bring on the best. Bring on the legends, dude.
Was the home run at Dodger Town or Vero Beach, or was it over in Jupiter?
Jupiter.
Okay.
Wind blowing in, and you know what's funny is before I went to the game. One of my teammates goes, "Hey, Eric Harris is going to take you deep." And yeah, what?
Nice teammate, man.
I went in just down, thought I threw hard. Snap, boom, line to the tree.
Hey, EK, I got a question for you, man. You went over the offensive side of the ball. I think for me, a lot of the question marks for Dave Roberts lie within the back end of that bullpen, right? I think, Julio Urias ended up shutting down that game and not Kenley Jensen. I mean, how do you explain that?
Dude, Urias was dealing. And see, the easy out was Jansen had thrown 2 days in a row and hasn't thrown 3 days in a row all year. You're not going to do it then, right? So that was the easy out. Kenley, I mean, he threw better. He came in and shut down the game the night before. So, I mean, it's at least an option. But that's the thing. It's like for this series, for me, it's going to be Rays bullpen versus Dodgers offense. So somebody's going to give there. That's going to be, for me, that's a difference. Dodgers bullpen's good, but think of it this way. Dodgers bullpen is going against Rays offense, not going against Braves offense.
Right.
So that's two different animals right there, So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going 7 though. I do think it's going 7. I think this is going to be a long one. Nobody's running away with anything.
EK, you talked about facing Maddox you talked about getting him a little bit in spring training, and then struggling against him in the regular season. Talk about facing him a little bit, and just I feel like
I'm going to give you the best story ever on facing Maddox, dude. So I can't hit this guy ever. I just hit him in spring training, but during the season, ground ball, strikeout every time. So we're a few years into my career, and so we go to Atlanta, and we got Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine. So Friday night, not a good night, but I got Maddox on Saturday, right? So I'm like, I go 0 for 4 every time against Maddox. So you know what? I'm going out all night long. I roll in about 5 in the morning, puke everywhere, and just completely a disaster, right? But what am I going to do? Go 0 for 4? Who cares, right? That night, home run, double, home run, my first 3
No way!
So, dude, check this out. So then fast forward, it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago in spring training. Maddox was a special instructor with us with the Dodgers, right? So I'm sitting with him in the dugout, and I'm like, Doggy, I got to tell you this. Do you remember the time, and I told him, I'm, pumping myself up, right? And I said, dude, I was so hammered that night. I mean, you probably don't remember, but I was, and he goes, dude, I do remember. You know why? Because I was effed up too.
He was out too, bro. That's fantastic.
I mean, that's my Maddox, and he was on. Yeah, he was not a lot of fun to hit against.
Eric wanted him 350, went to alcohol rehab afterwards.
Yeah, right.
That's incredible. Wow.
Eric, do you think Urias will continue to close, or do you think the Dodgers are kind of waiting to how they're going to use them in, say, Game 2? I know they've announced Buehler for Game 3 and then possibly start him Game 5. How do you think that's going to play out?
So I think he's probably a Game 4 starter, or he's a hybrid guy, right? So tomorrow is going to depend on what happens tonight as far as, how long's Kirsch going, who do they use? But you could see a bullpen day tomorrow, or Urias could eat up some innings. But he's their wild card, and he's their, they like to use this word now. Well, we're going to deploy this guy in a certain situation.
Right.
We haven't decided how we're going to deploy our guys, right? Well, he is the ultimate deployer, right? So he can start a game, he can go 3 innings. He's not your closer, though. right? It's going to be all situational. You know, they're going to run all the algorithms. This is the guy we should use here. This is the guy. And, you know, it's worked for him pretty well.
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of? I mean, obviously on the left side, but he still has electric stuff. Remember when the Red Sox won the World Series, Eovaldi was the same way that you're kind of, you know, explaining, right? He was that hybrid guy. You could bring him in any situation. He could give you 3 or 4 innings if you needed it, or he could get you some big outs, you know, either early or in like, you know, in intense situations in the game.
Right. Well, see, the thing is, too, is like what is he? I don't know. He's 23 or 24 years old, but he's already, you know, 16 or 18 postseason appearances. Like, that's crazy. So from an experience standpoint, you know, he's been in everything. He's started, he's closed, he's eaten up innings. And, I mean, they can use him anywhere. I mean, he's been their best pitcher so far. I mean, he goes him, then Buehler.
Yeah,
That's the reality.
I'd see him as your best pitcher and your best pitcher moving forward. Like, I see him as your next superstar, and I do see him, Swish, I think you nailed that. He's the X factor.
Gotta be.
Yeah. I mean, see, he's like and you almost don't even want to use him as a starter, because if you use him as a starter, you only use him for one game,
for
right?
A couple days, right?
Yeah, you could use him for maybe he could impact 3 games rather than 1 or 2, right? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how guys match up and what they do. There's going to be some managing going on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's going to be good because we got 2 of the best managing up this matchup. I mean, come on, Roberts, Cash. I mean, Kevin Cash. I mean, if he doesn't win the AL Manager of the Year, bro, Dick Vitale says we need to have a recount. We need to do something, right?
So, like, what do you think, though? Like, so the other night he took out Morton, right? And it ended up being the right thing. You know, you took out Morton. I think he had a shutout going. The day before, though, he took out Snell, and it didn't go well.
No.
And it's like, you know, that's the thing. Like, I remember when he took out Snell, you know, Snell was walking off the mound. You could tell he wasn't happy, right?
He did not. He was pissed, bro.
No, dude, he was. And then you could look at in the dugout after the inning kind of unfolded, you know, and you'd see like groups of guys huddled up, you know, leaning on the fence, going, you know, and you know what that conversation is, right? That's like, dang, man, what's he doing? I could have done, you know. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out.
What did you think about, and we talked about this a lot during Game 7, but Dustin May got pulled after the first inning, and we kind of went back and forth on it a little bit. You know, he got out of that inning, bounced off the mound with some pep in his step, and looked like he was about ready to settle in, and then he got pulled. Did you think in that moment that was the right call?
Yeah, I mean, that was the plan, right? So the plan was I want Gonsolin to go 3, maybe 4 innings, but I don't want to be facing Acuna twice or Freeman twice. So that's the whole idea. Let me start May. He's getting the inning, but Gonsolin's going to be our guy. And hopefully, and if he sees somebody twice, it's going to be, you know, maybe Albies or
Darno or somebody.
Yeah, it ain't going to be Acuna and Freeman, though. That's the thing. That was the whole idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking a lot just because, you know, he struggled a little bit there in the first inning, and obviously some emotions had to do with that. But, bro, when he got that final out, it was like they were so pumped up and he was so ready. Right. And then all of a sudden he didn't come back out for the second inning, and we were all like, bro, Tony Gonsolin? Like, that's the guy you're going to put in place?
Dude, Gonsolin, they were, you know, I mean, they were contemplating starting him, you know, and just saying, all right, Gonsolin goes, and because he's thrown well. I mean, but they didn't want to have him face, you know, again, the top of the lineup twice. The other thing, too, like with May, I mean, you know, it was weird. After that inning, you're down a run, but you feel like you got the momentum. I mean, that was a crazy thing, like, for me, watching that. It's, you know, but May's got some stuff there.
I think Gonsolin has a chance to start tomorrow from where I sit, possibly.
Right, I mean, he does, right? But again, though, it's like, do I want to, or do I start a guy? He's not going to use Gratterall, but like, do I start somebody that just gives me an inning, and then Gonsolin is my 3 or 4 innings? You know how they are. I mean, nowadays it's like, I don't want this guy to see him twice or 3 times, but I think Tampa's a completely different lineup, obviously, than, you know, seeing Acuna and Freeman, you know, at the top.
That's a great point.
Yeah, you know, but Tino brought something up Game 7 that really made a whole lot of sense to me, just because Tino's a smart guy. He was saying that why would you bring Dustin May and only throwing for 1 inning in that first inning, right? Like, his stuff plays when you need him the most at the end of the game, right? Like 7, 8, 9.
The guy you don't want to face.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
would you
no,
want
it's a guy you don't want to. But you've got Gratterall, that's your guy. Like if any big situation, you have trying it right. I don't think you were going to bring. So, and here's the other thing with May that he's had issues with during the year. So when he knows he's going to start, he's much better than go down in the bullpen and just be ready whenever the phone rings. Well, dude, he's ready in the second, then I'm ready in the fifth, and then I'm ready, so mentally, it's not easy for him. Not easy for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's something we also didn't talk about. Like some guys just aren't good coming out of the pen, and maybe
there's no experience, right? He's got no experience of it, so
like Kershaw.
Yeah, Tino,
right?
you touched on that. I mean, I think in a lot of times in this series, we're going to see starters coming in for relief, and there's nobody better than the Rays at doing that because they've done it, right? For the Dodgers starters, if you end up going back into the pen and trying to do that, that's a little bit different. I was a starter. I know that's a different how you prepare, how you get ready. You mentioned it mentally. That is a whole another separate animal to deal with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, bro, like people have been winning World Series for 100 years that way, right? Like the Tampa Bay Rays never won a World Series, right? So like that can't be the only way to win. You see what I'm saying? Like it can't just be like, yeah, we're going to be able to use all these guys. You still got to go out there. You still got to get big 2-out hits. You still got to get big 2-out outs, right? At the end of the day. But I don't know, man. I mean, like obviously everybody's buying into the Rays algorithm of how they do things. But I tell you who's not buying into the Rays algorithm? Every other major league player, because if the Rays win, the owners are going to be like, hey, man, you don't have to spend all this money to win.
Right? Well, how about if you're a starting pitcher or you're like there's a guy on the team, Ryan Yarbrough, right? And so he's a left-hander for the Rays, and he never gets to start. He comes in the second inning, then pitches like a starter, doesn't. How do you think that looks like when you go to arbitration? How many starts did you have? Well, none. So are you a reliever? Well, no, I'm not a reliever. I'm really a starter, but we're going to pay you like a middle reliever.
Right. Well, there is going to be in the new collective bargaining agreement a new category there. There has to be because those guys know they want to take the Rays in or teams like that because you lose a lot of money, but there's value there. But the Yankees tried it in Game 2, as we know, against the Rays. They started Debbie Garcia up one inning. They brought in Jay Happ, who was not used to doing that. And he came in there, and he's as a team player, he said, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it. Yeah." But he wasn't all good with it. He just not used to that, and it blew up in their face. It cost them at least a game of the series.
I think you make a good point there, Tino, and talk about that for a second. You said, and there's a new collective bargaining agreement happening soon. It does make a difference whether you start games or come in out of the pen, and you touched on it there. They have to put something in to protect those guys that are like a Yarbrough, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these guys get drafted by the Rays. They have some roles there, and there's very few Kershaws and Verlanders and those guys that they're going to pitch 7 innings every day anymore. But the way the Rays do things, the way they use their entire staff, there has to be a value to that for these players who even want to go play in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there's the value to it, and I think one thing, and this is no knock against the Rays. I mean, listen, the way they utilize guys, when somebody gets overthrown, they move on. They go to somebody else. And that's kind of scary for a player.
See you, Swish.
Call me later.
I think his food arrived. His mail guy.
Oh yeah, he's probably got his food's finally showing up.
Yeah.
He had a little Postmates mishap earlier, so I think his food's finally arriving is what's happening.
Eric, back to Dustin May. If he would have got through that first, you think it would have been maybe a 3-inning appearance? Just not.
They would have rode him a little longer, right? So maybe he gets 2 innings, maybe. But then you don't want to burn him too much because maybe he's your Game 2 starter in the World Series.
Yep.
Right? I mean, what they do, and every team does it, but maybe these guys do it more extreme. But they're mapping out things for like the next 3 weeks, right? And you say, well, dude, how can you be doing stuff 3 weeks down the road? You got to get by, these couple days first before you. But everything, it's again, it's to win. At least in the Dodgers case this year, it's World Series or bust. I mean, that's the bottom line.
What do you think happens here? Now they're in the World Series. Do you think anything happens to Dave Roberts if they lose here? And a follow-up question would be, do you think something would have happened to Dave Roberts had they lost earlier in the playoffs?
I think outside, maybe the fans get worked up about it, but I'm not sure that you could argue things this year as far as, okay, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. I mean, everybody wanted to clamor about leaving Kershaw in his last start, and it didn't work out. But he's been pretty much, and I'm not going to say by the book. He hasn't made any crazy moves or anything, and that clubhouse will run through a wall for him. And look, there have been some things decisions that he's made that he's probably based them more on emotion and relationship and his interaction with the player. That his loyalty to the player may have I don't want to say cost him, but it didn't work out, right? And I don't know that you can be faulted for that. And I don't think So who are you going to bring in to lead that group, right? He's as good as anybody. He's got that clubhouse down. The clubhouse is great, and the reality is, if I don't think he's going to win or lose a series for him. It's going to be the players. It really is. I don't think he's going to make some decision. Bottom line is that they're going to have to hit. They're going to have to score some runs.
Yeah. You say who you're going to bring in. I will tell you, there's two guys sitting out there with some pretty good track records that are going to be looking for a job next year.
No chance they're going to L.A. You think A.J. Hinch is coming to L.A.?
No way, dude. No way.
No way. Cora's already going to Boston.
No way, dude.
Right?
No way.
Who else?
Hey, man,
who else you got for me, Colin?
Hey, I asked Cora today if what about the Boston thing, and he blew me off, which he might have just blew me off because he couldn't say anything. So I'm interested to see what happens.
I'm saying Dave Roberts was not going anywhere. Eric, you made a great point there. The key to managing the game these days is to have the clubhouse, have the trust in the players. Because we all know right now, nobody wants to admit it, though, that the upper level, the executives up there make a lot of decisions. Mm-hmm. You just pitch 3 innings, this guy should 3 innings, this guy, we don't want to see him facing this guy. They tell you what to do before the game starts, especially in the playoffs.
Yep.
And as long as you have the clubhouse, the guys play hard for you, they want to win for you, then they got to go out there and hit the ball, get that key hit with the bases loaded to win a game. It's not all about what Dave Roberts does in the dugout, because like Joe Torre was one of the greatest managers in the game, but he had our clubhouse in order, and it was so much fun to play for. We respected him, and now it's up to us to go out there and get the hits and all that kind of stuff. It's not all about the manager, what he does in the dugout. I think Dave Roberts has great control over that team.
Yeah. I think you can even, look at Houston this year and Dusty, right? When you're talking about having a clubhouse and getting trust, and, I think they overachieved. I really do.
I thought Dusty was awesome.
Yep. It was unreal. But you're right. That's what you have to have. That's more important than the X's and O's now.
Yep. Guys, we've been talking about shifts a good bit this, in Game 7 and with the Rays, obviously. Did you guys see that? They had 4 outfielders there. Will Smith up to bat. 4 guys in the outfield, 2 guys on the left side of the infield, and 1 guy at first base.
How about that at bat he took where he inside out of that curve the last game to drive in those runs?
Right.
That's the most amazing swing I think I've seen in a big situation where a guy finally took advantage of the shift.
Oh, that was the Bellinger one right there where his shoulder popped, right?
Yeah.
You guys were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tonight, man, this is something to look for, man. If that shoulder's all beat up the way that we think it is, there's a reason why he's flying open so much, Rick. We was talking about that earlier. If he ain't got no strength in that right shoulder, that front side's going to fly just to get the barrel going. You got to pay attention. If Glasnow can stay on the outside part of the plate, he's going to be successful. Bellinger's not going to be successful.
No chance, right?
Right?
There's no way he can afford to extend out there and miss. That'll be it. That'll be his last postseason swing.
Yeah.
If he better hold on to that bat with 2 hands, bro. That left hand better hold on to it.
And you can see it when he's swinging at pitches on the outside. You can kind of see him protecting himself and like cutting it a little short, like right there. He gets a pitch on the outer third, and he just kind of you can see him protect his shoulder on the follow through. It doesn't look good out there. It creeps in a little bit, and he can launch balls. But
however, he hit a bomb first of all, extended the bomb. Then he heard it afterwards. So. Who knows? It's like They said they popped it back into place. One of those little things that people have some kind of degenerative disease kind of thing. Seriously, they popped it back into place. He's ready to go. I mean,
yeah, no, they did. They popped it right back into place, and but it's still got to be sore, right?
Like, if it's that bad though, you can't swing the bat.
So I actually, my entire career, I did it in college. I tore my left labrum, and it would pop out about maybe 5 times a year. And hitting was the biggest thing. And, you know, they could pop it right back in, and it's sore, really sore the next day. So I assume he's really sore. But the hardest part was getting to the balls on the outside corner, just because you want to keep that shoulder so tight and so close to your body. When you start extending it, it hurts even more.
Well, it was a setup. Do you think he went for the old, this hurts?
Remember the at bat he had when he hit the home run, those 3 outside pitches, he kind of like flicked them foul. He had nothing behind him, just flicked them foul. And then threw it right in his zone, he hit the bomb. He went no part of that outside corner. He couldn't get out there.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think you even noticed when he's running down that first base line, bro. I mean, I saw the replay a few times. And, bro, that right shoulder ain't moving. Like, when he's running, that thing is just hanging, bro. That could be like, hey, if he needs to roll out for something in the gap, he needs to lay out for something, that's going to be something to pay attention to as well.
Hey, all 4 of you guys, were you a top hand hitter or a bottom hand hitter, right? Did you pull, or were you firing with that top hand?
Swish, go ahead first.
Yeah, I was on the bottom hand, left-handed. I was even though I threw left-handed, I was right-hand dominant. So my left-handed swing, I had more of the uppercut, and my right-handed swing had more of the chop down. See what I'm saying? Had this motion because my right arm was my strongest arm, right? You know, obviously you always want to be palm up, palm down at the point of contact, both arms working together. But when you have different strengths in each arm, you definitely have that. So for me, right hand for sure.
EK?
Yeah, no, right-handed hitter, and mine was a top hand. But I was this, trying to get underneath as much as I could and just kind of push it out there and everything. But, it's crazy is like things that I thought I was doing, like if you would have asked me 25 years ago, so how do you hit? And I'd have said, I'm chopping down and I'm squishing the bug and I'm pivoting and all this sort of stuff. And I would have argued with you all day long. I said, no, that's what I'm doing. And it's funny because now I look back on stuff, I look at tapes or whatever, and, the vernacular that's used now and all that. And it's like, I was doing exactly what they're doing now, except I didn't realize I was doing it. And nobody's chopping down on the ball. Everybody.
Different terminology, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly. I think the terminology has changed. Now we hear launch angle, but you look at the swing now compared to then, it's all the same. And the key to a baseball swing is staying in and through the zone as long as you possibly can. And that hasn't changed. It hasn't changed from when, a while ago. And I think just the terminology has changed. Tino, what about you?
Well, as a right-handed thrower and left-handed hitter, my stronger arm was my right-handed. My right arm, so I felt like I pulled my hand down through the zone, and I wanted to keep my left hand on top. So I really worked hard in the batting cages on doing flips with my top hand, my weak hand, not my throwing hand, on staying on top, and making it stronger. But I really had more power pulling my right hand down through the ball on the knob.
Yeah,
I remember Tony Gwynn used to always say, and I remember that back in the day was, you want to throw the knob at the ball and then swing through it. And that's kind of what I kind of did. Knob the ball and then swing through it.
I felt like personally as a right-handed hitter, I always got in trouble. My top hand, when I'd get in trouble is when it became too dominant and I'd start rolling over balls because I was too top hand heavy. And then next thing I know, I'm rolling over to short, rolling over to third. So I had to focus more on my left hand and pulling the knob through like you were just talking about, Tino.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I feel like now the swing is so complicated. It's all about like angles and numbers and like spine angles and things like that. I'm like, bro, how about just taking the barrel to the ball, right? I feel like, you overcoach these kids so early in life. And that's why, for me, that's why I love seeing a lot of the Latin players coming over. They haven't received all that coaching. They're still swaggy and it's them and they have their own way of doing it. And I love that, man, because you got to let an individual be themselves. You can't cookie cut guys. There are a lot of similarities in baseball.
Some of these guys, though, do you ever feel like they hit the ball at the ballpark so easy? Dude. It's like they're playing wiffle ball. This one, like they're just like hit, like it's like how do they do that? I mean,
that's what they're hitting golf balls.
It's like the balls are juiced or something.
I mean, I'm popping up if I do that. They do it like no, it's so easy. I'm like, what is that?
If we can go out and take BP with golf balls, still have it.
Man, I got it. Guys, my Postmates made it in, boys. I got it.
What are you featuring?
I'm ready. A little Five Guys, bro. A little Five Guys.
Oh, the burgers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, bro. And then a bowl of fries and a bag of fries, bro. Let's go.
Jesus, Swish.
So big at bat right there for Peterson, right? We talked about how dominant he's been, and Glasnow was able to shut him down. And that for the Tampa Bay, that's got to be a big, guy on base. You can't walk him. You got to pitch to him. They get him to swing at the ball in third. I feel like that's a pretty big at bat right there in this game.
Well, on top of all that, getting through 2 innings at that young age, now he's the dugout going, let's go. Just fire away here. That's huge for a pitcher, I'm sure. I'm not a pitcher, but hitting wise, you go up there your first at bat, you hit a single or you walk, you feel the next at bat, you're ready to roll.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. Glasnow, he's susceptible to home runs, right? That's his thing. He just went through the lineup, nobody barreled up anything. It's just like he's got unbelievable stuff, right? As good a stuff as anybody. And it's just between the ears for him, and now he's feeling good. Could be a long one for the Dodgers.
EK, while we still got you here, man, I got one more Dodger question. I feel like we got a lot of insight on the Dodgers, which is awesome. What do you think is the one thing that the Dodgers are going to have to do this year that they haven't done in past World Series to finally pull off that victory?
Bullpen's going to have to shut it down, right? Bullpen's going to have to shut it down, and that's where they got beat. They got beat. The Red Sox. They brought in, what was it, Scott Alexander? He walks a guy, and then God, who was that? The guy, the tall guy that used to be with the Phillies or whatever. He came in, gave up a hit. Kenley a few years ago with the Astros, but you don't know. Are they feeding stuff? Who knows? But it's historically been the bullpen, right? And this year, the Gratterall and Trinan deal. Those two guys are horses. And now, as Rick said, you got Urias that you can deploy him at any time you want. That's going to be the key for them. Is their bullpen going to answer the bell?
All right, guys, we got a social media question. Let's throw it over to social media and see what we got. This one is from Steph. Who do you think will be the underrated player to watch? Swish, we'll throw that to you.
I'm going to take it right out of EK's mouth, right? I'm going to say Will Smith, right? I don't even know what to say, bro. Like, it's already been talked about. Like, this dude right here gets no love, right? He's leading, catchers in this postseason and RBIs. Like, there's nothing he's not doing, right? Offensively, defensively, coming through clutch situations. Give this man some love. So I definitely think Will Smith's the most underrated player in this World Series right now.
Yeah, I like that. We'll all give an answer. Rick, you got somebody else, or are you going with him too?
Because I can't. I'll say Urias. And even though we've all heard about it and talked about him, we mentioned earlier. Listen, I think he's the X factor here. You go back to K-Rod with the Angels back during, when he came in and took over. I just think that he has such a unique skill set. He's really started to believe in himself and throw out of that 3/4 slot, in my opinion, which is really allowing him to make pitches and be where he wants to be in the zone. And listen, these left-handed throws in the mid-high 90s. The guy's nasty. So Urias.
Yep. Tino, underrated player?
I'm not saying underrated, but Joey Wendell from the Rays. I think
I was going to say.
He's a solid little hitter, and that guy, I think throughout this whole series, will be the guy who gets clutch hits that they need at the right time.
EK?
I'm going Peter Fairbanks.
Oh,
reliever, dude. Reliever coming at you at 100 miles an hour out of that Rays bullpen. I think he's going to be – I'm going to say he's going to be in 4 games. I'm going to say 4 games in this World Series. And,
wow.
If they're going to be around, he's going to have to deal.
I don't know if you can say the starting shortstop on a team would be underrated, but I think if Willy Adames can find a way to do anything offensively this series, it'd be so huge for them. He's so good in the field defensively, elite out there defensively, and I think if he can get into some balls. And I played with Willie in the Tigers organization. He was part of the David Price trade to Detroit, and he was kind of the main piece to go to Tampa. He's a freak, and he has just some raw ability and so much pop. And I think if you can get anything out of him offensively and him to drive some balls, I think that would be huge for them.
Yeah, Eric, I got a question for you. In talking about shortstops and watching what Seager's been able to be healthy.
Oh, yeah, bro. He's been amazing.
I know there was talks of them trading him and whatnot. What happens now? Do you think? I know they signed the big contract with Mookie. Finally, they brought in a big free agent. But do they and will they make a choice to keep Steve there?
Give that man the money.
Right. I mean, so here's the call. Like, so are you going to commit to Seager and Bellinger? Right? Like, is Bellinger, he's going to want a big deal, right? Seager's got the, coming off the hip and the Tommy John. Right. Is he a shortstop for? But again, though, you look at this year. I was looking at something the other day. He's got the most hard hit balls of any, but most balls hit over 100 miles an hour. Which, again, like you go, oh, another dumb stat. But it says something. I mean, he's squaring up some balls. I think at the point he's at right now, I think he probably gets to free agency, and I think Scott Boras is his representative, right?
Yeah.
And so, he has a tendency to take guys to free agency, and you're a year away. Man, I mean, the Dodgers historically, they don't overwhelm you, right? And they went out and they did the Mookie Betts deal, and I'd argue that Mookie, when they signed him, how they signed him, as far as the trade, the type of person he is in the clubhouse, on the field, the longevity, the non-injury. I mean, I'd argue that the Dodgers got a great deal. The Dodgers.
I'll tell you, Kershaw looks like he's out to try and prove a point today about his postseason outings. I mean, he just rolled through that inning, and he is just, he got through that first inning, is a little sketchy there in the first, but Jesus, he's rolling through now.
Yeah, he starters once you get through the first.
That's right, man. He's rolling right now, man. Hey, EK, bro, I can't thank you enough, bro. This means so much to me that you came on to rap with us, came over to the crib to watch a little bit of the game, give us a little bit of the insight, brother. We love you, man. Thank you so much for being on here, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome night, man. Thank you for being
be
here.
well, guys. Take care, man. Enjoy it.
Brother.
All right.
EK, bro, how legit is that guy, dude? And by the way, best flow in the game, dude. His flow is still got it. Especially when you're sitting next to him on the desk, because it's like it glistens, bro. You know what I'm saying? He got a little bit of like that little quarantine beard going on, bro. But when he trims that thing up, bro, that's a handsome man right there, bro.
Swish, have you?
Him here, even though he took me deep, and trust me, I'm so bitter about it. I don't like anyone taking me deep. That's just the ego. But
how about that Maddox?
Clean training. He laid it in there for him.
Nope, I wasn't laying anything in there. I was trying to strike everyone in there, Grandma. I'm just being honest.
I know how you are.
That's so funny, bro. Hey, Ben, you were talking about that story right there, EK, bro, and Greg Maddux. And, come on, bro. Those are the stories that, like, no one even knows, right? No one knew that Greg Maddux would slam sodas, bro. Side slug them, bro, any way you wanted, bro. That man was going to be there every day. Come on, bro. He won 15 games in a row, like, I think something like 10 years in a row. Something absolutely crazy like that. But I actually have a little Greg Maddux story, too, real quick.
I'll say, did you face him? What do you got?
Yeah, bro, I faced him, and man broke my thumb, bro. Hey, might have been like 2004, maybe. My first big league spring training. We're at Mesa. Greg Maddux with the Cubs at the time. And I'm the young up-and-coming, prospect in the Oakland A's organization, right? And all of a sudden, bro, we're facing, Greg Maddux at night in Mesa, bro. It's like 15,000 people. Bro, I'm pumped up. I'm hitting like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. So I get up my first at bat, bro, and I feel like I'm seeing him real good, bro. I take 2 fastballs, ball 1, ball 2, and I'm like, oh, bro, this guy has no idea. I'm about to hit this thing over the center field. I'm about to go way back, right? Bro, he went strike 3, right? Bring him up. I go back to the dugout, and I'm looking around like, bro, that ball just vanished. Like, it was there, and then it just vanished, bro. But I'm going to get him my second at bat, right? Okay, cool. So I come up my second at bat. I'm like, oh, I got this, man. He's throwing sinkers all day. He thinks I'm susceptible to him. I'm going to be on him. Ball 1, ball 2. Same count as the first AB. I'm like, bro, he's going to throw me a little baby sinker. I'm going to hit this thing 800 feet, and the whole crowd's going to go crazy. Bro, I just assumed he was going to throw a sinker, and I ran back, bro, and I went to go swing, committed the whole 9. All of a sudden, that ball gets to the breaking point, and it cut. I took an absolute rip, hit the ball about this far off of my hands. My bat didn't break, but my thumb did. Tore the ligament off, the whole 9. My thumb was hanging as I'm running down the first base line. Oh my gosh, dude, it's so embarrassing. I ran back in the locker room, taped up my whole hand with a roll of tape, right? I'm just like, I'm not telling a single soul. That's so embarrassing. End up having to have off-season surgery that year for sure. So thanks, Greg, if you're watching.
You're a gamer. You're a gamer.
No, I mean, maybe just dumb. I don't know. Like, I couldn't, no way I went to admit Greg Maddux broke my thumb, bro. And like severed my soul right there at home plate, bro. You know what I mean?
That's
Hey,
great.
everybody at home, that's something to know. Greg Maddux was not throwing 98. That might have been 88, 89, but with
If
the right
that,
move,
bro. If that.
ruined Nick's year. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Guys, we got another social media question. Let's see what we got. This one is from Chris. Does a short season MLB champ deserve an asterisk? Rick, what do you got here?
No, I don't think so. Do we know? Because listen, we're going to say it's a shortened season, but listen, the amount of things that these guys had to go through, the champion is still the champion. I think they played for the championship. Now, if you're talking about somebody hit over 400 or something like that, went undefeated or had an ERA of 20, then yeah, I mean maybe there's a little bit more explained there. But everybody went through the same thing. This has been an unprecedented type of year with all the things that have gone on. I believe that the champion is the champion. That makes sense.
Yep. Tino?
No, I totally agree. We talked about on Saturday, on Sunday. I'm going to say it's a tough season, and these guys were, and with the pandemic and stuff, and playing through all that stuff, and then the new schedule, whatever it was, had to go through. I mean, the best teams are there. The best teams are here in the World Series right now. The playoffs. I mean, it seemed like everybody from the Padres to all the guys who lost in the first round, they all were playing great baseball throughout the whole entire time. It wasn't like somebody was struggling, a team was struggling because of the pandemic or the delay from the spring training. The guys are playing so hard, all the teams played so hard, and the two top teams came out on top. I mean, it could have been the Yankees, it could have been the Astros, it could have been the Padres, and these two guys survived the whole tournament.
Yep. Swish?
Yeah, I agree with all them, man. Like get that asterisk out of here, bro. Get it out, because this year was harder than any other normal baseball year ever, right? Like, I'm not even playing, and I feel stressed out for these guys, right? Listen, the sacrifices that these baseball players had to go through this year, right? Staying in the hotels, right? Being away from their families, right? Doing their best in a non-bubble situation, right? To be able to come out and give us live sports the way that they have, bro. Somebody's getting their name on their trophy. And instead of an asterisk, Chris, I think that this championship should mean more than a normal championship because of all the things that we've had to deal with, not only as baseball, as a franchise, but overall in life. Just the adversity that everyone's had to go through this year. These are crazy times, man. And sports is going to be the one thing to bring us back. So to be able to have this on here, kudos to those guys for going through everything they've gone through.
Yep, Swish, you took it right out of my mouth. And I think there's been players talk about it, the toll it took on them mentally this year, which I don't think enough people are talking about. A lot of guys, think about it. You're away from your families. You're away from everything that means a lot to you. And there's been a few guys vocal this year, that haven't had great years that have said, guys, look, like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. This isn't easy on us mentally. And I agree with you, Swish. I think even more so this year. Like, put something extra on top of it, It's 2020.
Yeah, put a little sprinkle on top or something, some chocolate sauce, something like that, because it's been a crazy year. Right now, man, hey, this is the second time through the lineup, right? Yep. I mean, we all know, right, after you see him for the first time, you get a little feel for him. Mookie's had a long at-bat so far, fouling off a couple pitches. If he can get himself up,
he gone.
He gone. That's just the thing, man. It's like, got to get something going, right? This is why this could be one of those series where it's an extremely low-scoring series. They've got power pitchers all top to bottom. And what he was saying made a whole lot of sense to me, right? If you're looking for big outs for the Dodgers come the late innings in the game, you can go to Gratterall, bro. I mean, he's been great so far for them this year. I think we all remember the celebration he had when Bellinger made that catch. But he's been great, man. That was a huge trade for them moving forward. I mean, we haven't seen Joe Kelly a whole lot. I'm interested to see how they use all those guys moving down to the end of the game. Dude,
good point. You haven't seen Joe Kelly a lot at all.
No, the only Joe Kelly I've seen have been on murals, bro. That's all. That's the only thing I've seen.
And he only throws 99 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, but, Tampa, because Joe Kelly was in Boston, right, they might be a little more familiar with him than they are with any other pitcher. And I just bring that up because these two teams haven't played each other, which is an important thing to to keep mentioning because it is a little bit different. It's not like, they're close to each other and they've seen it.
Right. By the way, how about the fact that they got all these fans in the stands, bro? It seemed like there's a lot of people there,
I love it. I'm so happy for the guys. Yeah, I really love it because, just to make them feel like there's it's a World Series. I mean, they know it because people are watching, but, you watch the hockey games and the Stanley Cup Finals, the basketball, no fans in the stands. Those guys were playing like there was sold-out crowds there. They were so intense and went after it hard, and baseball do the same thing. But I'm glad that there's fans there to see those special moments, like the Bellinger home run, for example, like that. If that happens in a series like that, it's very special to have people watching that.
Some we brought up earlier, right? What team or who are they going to pitch around, right? Looks like they just didn't want to give much to Seager. Right, so who's
a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, right?
You know that the Dodgers proved they're not going to pitch to Rosarona.
Rosarina, bro. Come on, dog.
Rick,
Rick's
about to start calling him Rice-A-Roni over there.
Oh, goodness gracious. Guys.
Trying to watch two different screens because I can't see the Zoom on this one.
Hey, guys, we got to welcome in our next guest, bro. He came over to the crib, bro. He's a Minnesota Twins pitcher, 2019 All-Star, bro. Also a member of the Tampa Bay Rays from 2013 to 2017. I'm so happy to have him, man. He's our first current player that we have right now. We can really kind of pick his brain, bro. He's a general on the mound, bro. I faced him a bunch, and he's gotten the better half of me all the time for sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him in. Let's get it. Jake Odorizzi. Yeah. Woo! What's up, Jake?
What's up, Swish? How you doing, man?
Doing amazing, man. You doing all right? Where you at these days?
So we're in Illinois right now, visiting some family over at my brother-in-law's house right now, and just hanging out. We'll be heading back to Tampa pretty soon here, so get back to the warmth before it starts cooling off. You know how it goes.
Yes, sir, I do. No doubt about it. Ben, you got anything for Jake?
Yeah, Jake, I got a question for you. And, you pitched briefly in the Rays minor league system and then for the Rays. What would you say, and we've talked a lot on this show in the past about the Rays and the kind of the culture they've created and with the pitching staff and how they use guys. It's just different there. What was talked about? Like, is it different there compared to everywhere else you've played?
I think it's different in the aspect of, so like for me personally, when they traded for me from Kansas City, they liked that I pitched up in the zone, had the rise ball effect, whatever, but it was very taboo at that time. But they were ahead of the curve, just like they are when it seems to be, everything that they do, they're at the forefront of it. They liked what they saw in me, and they understood the why as to why I was having success. I had no idea. I mean, I just was effective up there. And then I got there, and they explained to me, they're like, we can tell you exactly why you're having success, first off, and then we want to build off of that and make it even better. So they gave me little tips here and there to kind of combat what I did naturally to take me to that next level. They taught me, split, thanks to Alex Cobb as well too. So they were able to get me to be a better version of myself. And I think that's what you see with a lot of their pitchers is they get there and they have a good system in place that gets them to kind of understand themselves and really focus on what they do well and then amplify that.
Gotcha. Guys, we got a social media question. Let's see what we got here. I think we have a social media question. There we go. This one is from Master Rob. He says, who is the one pitcher or player you hated to see playing? Switch, what do you got?
The one pitcher I hated, bro. I'm a 250 batter, bro. I mean, there was a lot of guys, bro, that I didn't want to see out on that mound. And I tell you what, man, for myself is going and obviously being, playing for the Yankees for those 4 years and understanding exactly what the Rays philosophy was all about. Listen, bro, you don't want to face these guys going down the stretch. Like Jake was saying, man, these guys get to the big leagues. They're already prepared. They already have a game plan in mind, right? Regardless of who the guy is, I think that's also why they're able to use so many guys in so many different situations. Everybody seems like they're comfortable because they put guys in position to succeed, right? They know who's coming up, right? I mean, the rule this year with being able to face 3 batters is a little different. But I think for myself, facing the Rays, that's hard because you're going to get all sorts of different angles. I mean, we saw that graphic the other night with all the different arm angles that the Tampa Bay Rays have to offer, right? They're not just a power pitching squad. They have different guys. They have a plethora of pitchers, and I think that's a reason why they're successful.
Jake, who would you say as a pitcher? Who would you say as a pitcher, Jake, that you hate to see? If there's one guy coming up to the plate who that like you're most frustrated to see coming up, who would it be?
So somebody that just wants to put the ball in play. Like, I'd rather face somebody who's trying to hit it 500 feet than somebody that's just trying to hit an opposite field single. But, it's kind of changed my career. Like, you go through phases of some guy really owns you, and then you figure it out, and then you go on the upper hand for a while. Like, early on when I was in Tampa, Brian McCann, when he was with the Yankees, absolutely killed me. He was hitting like 600 off me. I couldn't do anything. Like, it got to the point of I could throw anything and it was going to be a hit regardless. And sometimes when you play in a Yankee Stadium, there's two guys that know it very well. Right field, anything in the air, it's going to find the seats pretty quickly. And then for some reason, I just started doing well against him. I knew I had the upper hand when he tried to bunt on me one time. And that was the determiner for me. I was like, okay, I finally have the upper hand if B-Mac's trying to lay down a bunt against me first pitch of the at-bat. So it just goes through phases. I'm sure everybody has their ups and downs against certain people, but you figure it out over time, and you try not to let them beat you again.
Jake, you're not feeling super comfortable against some. If you're going up there trying to lay down a bunt, you're not walking up there thinking, I got this guy.
No way.
Rick,
when you were having trouble against those guys, were there certain guys that you just couldn't make a pitch to? Because I know this happened to me. There was two guys that, as hard as I tried, it just seemed to end up over the middle of the plate.
It seemed like I'll just use the McCann one since we're talking about him. It was part of that Yankee Stadium allure. Like, he was pulling everything. So he was crowding the plate, quick inside. My split didn't play too well to him because he kind of just drug the barrel through and pulled it all to right field. But it was the weirdest thing. Like, I could throw anything in any quadrant. It seemed like he was pulling it to the right side, and it was finding a hole or finding the seats for the longest time. And then I actually think it was probably missing Yankee Stadium a few times and seeing him at the Trop more or less, where that's not as easy to do. And it kind of got him back into a more normal approach against me. And I think that's where the turning point kind of happened. But, it was just like, it didn't matter where it was at. It was getting whacked somewhere.
Was there somebody on base when he tried to bunt?
No, leading off the inning, first pitch, like, flip me in curveball. Like, essentially just trying to steal one. And we had the Rays shift on. Well, this is before, like, the shifting was super common. It was the full on, nobody on the left side. So I took off for it. I think it was foul, but either way, it was just like one of those moments where, okay, I feel confident in what he's not confident against me anymore. So that's a good thing.
Hey, you brought it up, and you didn't exactly know why you were having success with it, but then you got to the Rays, and they kind of were like, yeah, this is why, and they were kind of ahead of the curve. And I know, my brother's later half of his career kind of turned around when he started throwing four-seamers up in the zone more, and then he gets to Houston and they say, throw more four-seamers up in the zone. This is why, and they have all these numbers behind it. It's interesting that the Rays were kind of so far ahead of that. And what did they say to you? Like, how they was it when you first got there, they were like, this is what you've been doing, this is why you're having success? Or talk a little bit about them kind of changing the game with numbers on the pitching side of things.
Yeah, so they broke down, like, my release point angle, their angle of my wrist, why the ball doesn't drop as much because of my mechanics. And I have pretty simple mechanics, so it was one of those things where the more simple the mechanics, the more it looked like the ball was jumping out of your hand. So, and the angle at which I released it, it wasn't exactly on top of the ball, so I wasn't creating downward angle. I was almost throwing it straight out of the hand as opposed to a downward tilt. So they explained to me that it has the illusion of it not dropping. Obviously it is, but it stays at the top of the zone, and it worked really well. I threw a bigger curveball at the time, so it played really well with that. And it was very strange. They said, pitching down in the zone with that, once you get control of it, it has that takeoff when you get down in the zone. So it looks like it's going to be out, gets back into the zone, and then obviously the split played really well off of that. But they built it around the fastball, and I think that's the most important thing in pitching in general is being effective with your fastball. And if you can get swings and misses at the top of the zone and swings and misses above the zone, you're still going to be in the zone. So it just it makes the strike zone bigger in a sense. And for a hitter, it looks like it's a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball right in the letters. Looks like the greatest pitch in the world to hit. So if you have a little bit of deception, it gives you just that little bit of extra. You get away with a little more things, like you get balls in the air, pop-ups, whatever it may be. But it's just a tougher pitch to square up. And back then, the swing planes were still down and through the ball. Now we've got launch angles and everything to combat that. So it's kind of equaling itself out a little bit. But that's just the phase of the game. And it was nice to really have somebody sit down and say, we like you for doing it. We don't want you to change. Like back then, so I mean that was 2013, so it was still sinker slider was like the mold of everybody. So it was the abnorm, and they were right. How many years? 6 years before anybody else was. Crazy.
Wow, that's a good point. It's awesome. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I loved hitting the ball up in the zone for a strike. I can hit the high ball. I can hit the ball in the strike zone. I hit it really well for a left-handed hitter. I love that ball high. But the one that's about 2 inches higher, just out of the zone, the thing about a hitter is you see it so well. I mean, you see it come out of the hand, and you just can't hit it. And I started striking out too much, so I started chasing the higher one, and I did. I wish I played in today's game where they call that box. That box is today to me. It's a hitter's game. I mean, pitchers just out of that box a little bit. It's a ball. Back then you creep up a little bit, but I can hit the ball in the zone pretty well for a high fastball. I can try to get my top hand through it. But the higher you went, I couldn't hit it, but I still chased it because it looks so good.
Yeah, and that's the separator now is you expanded the zone that high, plus you still have to worry about the knees and getting dotted up down there. So hitters are essentially putting themselves in bad position, but it looks so good to the eye. Like I have minimal at bats in the big leagues. I only have 2 hits, but I swing at those pitches too all the time. And it's like, they look much better to me.
It's eye high.
The ones at the knees look like they're at your ankles. So I don't have any correlation of like, this one looks way better. I'll swing at that one all day.
Yeah, but that box the other day, today that box they have, I mean, the umpires call that box. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's just off that box, it's a ball.
Not all the time, Tino. Not all the time.
Okay, it's a hitter's game today. The pitchers are in trouble today because that box they don't call outside that box. It's like incredible.
We're seeing Clayton Kershaw, bro. He got out of that shaky first, and he's just absolutely cruising right now. I think he's got 5 or 6 punch outs so far right now. I have another question for you, Jake, and we talk about just the great managers that are managing in this game right now. You have a great manager, in my opinion, as well. Obviously, an ex-Tampa Bay great in Rocco Baldelli. Love him to death. What does he bring to the ballpark with him that you guys like, right, that you guys can vibe with? Because for a guy like me on the outside looking at him, I'm like, bro, I want to learn from him because it seems like he has the respect of everybody in the locker room.
Well, he does because, this year we had 2 guys that were older than him with Rich Hill and Nelson Cruz. So those 2 guys got, outrank him seniority-wise. But, Rocco's great. And I think I've been spoiled, too, because my time with him in Tampa, I got to see him do a lot of different roles. When I first got there, he was a special assistant, kind of on assignments, and he was obviously a super intelligent guy. So he got the knowledge of literally every role, like, through a system. And then at the end, he was the outfield coach, first base coach, everything that goes along with it. But, he just brings that chill to a team. Like I
think we lost him.
He's going to come back. He's going to pop back. So, by the way, man.
Between you guys, if I don't ask, I want to know how he would pitch to Randy Macaroni, Ben, as you would say it.
Rice-a-roni.
I'm trying to ask that while Raise the Runner was almost up, just so
When we get him, if we get him back, we'll ask him how he would throw to Rice-a-roni.
I just think, man, there are similarities and Tino, you were talking about it a little bit ago. The way you manage your team now is completely different than the way you managed your team in the past, right? Like it's more of a. Remember back in the day, it always felt like the manager was up here and the player was down here, right?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh no, Jake's back. He's back. But now
he's back.
The relationship that managers have with players is right here. It's an equal respect thing. Right. And Jake got to play for great managers, bro. His entire career. I guess I just wanted to kind of pick his brain on how Rocco is having the success he's having.
Yeah, sorry about that. We're having a big storm here, and the lightning just struck and knocked out the internet. So my apologies right there. That's the Midwest for you. But no, Rocco brings like that chill to the whole clubhouse. Like he's the type of guy that you'll never see him sweat. You never see him panic. He's always the same guy every single day, and that's the consistency that you need in a leader of a team. Plus, when he was a player, he was an elite player. I mean, he's one of those type of guys. If he would have stayed healthy, he'd be the guy that's still out there playing today and doing it at a high level for being the age that he is. So there's a lot of respect there with him, and the way he's pretty straightforward when it comes to managing as well. Like you can go have a conversation with him, He'll tell you straight up what it is. There's really no sugarcoating it. And that's the type of guy that he is. But he's super intelligent, has data to back up what he's telling you. It's not just hey, I'm the manager, you listen to me. There's
Right.
a why, and there's a back and forth to go along with that.
Nick, I got a two-part question. One is, when you're making a game plan to pitch, let's pretend you're pitching against Tampa Bay Rays. Do you pitch around a guy? And if not, or how would you pitch to a macaroni?
Don't even say it anymore. Just call him Randy, bro.
I've been waiting for you to say it. I've been waiting for that moment for you to ask that.
I wanted you to have that.
So you could say the name again.
So if I like, they're a unique group. Like I love them. I still live in Tampa. I like the Rays. I like the everything they've done offensively in the postseason. They haven't really done too much, and I think that is the only thing that they haven't done well is hit. But if you have a guy that's obviously trying to cover up the ball, I think you have to be a little careful with him, depending on what the lineup looks like around him. So, obviously they went super right-handed against Kershaw, and I think it bodes well for Kershaw because everything he throws comes into righties. Right. And for a guy like Randy, you just go with Randy. Randy's the easier way to go. Just stick with Randy.
That's macaroni. It gives him something to be a
right. You kids will love that too. So
if you had to pitch to him, bases are loaded, how would you attack him?
I think first pitch you'd go off speed just because it's bases loaded situation. Try to get ahead 0-1 with a breaking ball, but then after that, I think if you're behind, you almost do the backwards approach. I think that's the way I would go. He seems like he's been pretty patient at the plate. For me, I think a right-on-right split is a good pitch to him, something that looks fastball-like, going to dive in on him where he's not able to get extended as well as he wants to. He's shown that he hits the fastball really well. So for me, I think my approach would be cutters. Something that's looking like the fastball and he's trying to barrel it up. I'm looking just for him to hit it off the end, miss-hit it, whatever it is. I don't think, the strikeout mindset with a guy that's hot isn't a good mindset to take because the more pitches they see, the more chances they have to run into it. So he's one of those guys where I think cutters are a good pitch to him just for the fact of missing the barrel and getting him to put the ball in play, keep your pitch count a little bit low, and move on after that. So that's just the way I would do it. I don't know the data or anything on him. Like, I pitched against the Rays last year, and I think I threw 100 pitches and 85 fastballs. So it's one of those things where if I don't know it, sometimes you just got to go with your strength and you just let it rip.
Yeah.
So you're saying with a guy like that, younger, coming up in a big situation with the bases juiced, something that, go off speed, a guy like that in a big energy situation, they're going to go up there hacking. Is that why you're starting them with a curveball or something off speed?
I would say slower just to separate the speed. So if I'm throwing a slider or a curveball first pitch, that's something in the mid-70s to low 80s. And then after that, my cutter would be, in that upper 80s, maybe 90, and then fastball is up from there. So it's that slow range, and then everything is a little bit different, especially with the cutter per se, it's going to look like fastball. So he's going to see fastball out of the hand after a first pitch off speed, and then it just gives him that little bit of movement at the end where it's still a firm pitch. So I think that would be why I would go off speed early, but he's shown that he hits the high fastball really well. I don't think you want to throw that first pitch. I know my tendency is high fastball, so I would stay away from that early on, knowing that's his strength and probably what he's looking for first pitch.
By the way, I just want to say that is so badass, that breakdown right there, bro. Yeah. I'm like laser locked. I'm like, I'm like, damn, I wish I would have talked to pitchers like this back when I was playing, right? Because I think the thing that pitchers have nowadays is I think they have a way better idea of what they're doing than what they did in the past. I think you said it.
Oh, did you?
No way.
Oh.
Who's that?
Bellinger.
One arm and all, bro. Come on. Shoulder. What? Let's go.
Look at him. He's trotting like Kurt Gibson around the bases.
Why are you throwing that man inside? Why are you throwing in fastballs inside?
Jake, I'm sure you were watching Game 7. It looked like to us that he couldn't hit it outside pitch.
Okay, that was full extension. There's nothing wrong with his arm, right? That was full extension.
It wasn't the setup. That's been the question.
It's also
Jake,
middle in.
So you talking about Bellinger not hitting the away pitch?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think lefties, especially, I know I'm talking to 3 of them right here, right now. As a lefty, the power for most lefties isn't the away ball. So you're playing into a guy's swing coming in. It's that lefty-righty differential. Like, lefties can come in on righties and they get success. When righties come into lefties, there's not a lot of success in there. So for me, a guy with lefty pop, you'd like to see him try to hit that ball out to left center as opposed to pull side and getting everything into it. So in big situations, force people to take singles as opposed to giving the game-changing play right then and there. So, that's just my approach. I'd rather go up the single the other way than the bomb that loses me the pennant.
Well, I don't think you're the only person. I think even though the glass nose fastball, he just tried to beat him inside. He tried to beat him in. Right? All the news that we've had, we've seen the swings away. How do you not make him beat you away?
No kidding. I mean, that's the best pitch there. But
so glass now, it makes me wonder if
him in Tampa and take care of that.
Hey, we go back one step here about pitching that he's talking about. When I played one of the greatest pitchers of all time in Roger Clemens, and I've never seen a guy like that. He's the greatest pitcher I've ever seen. Always Hall of Famer, but he was not afraid with first and second, 2 outs, to pitch around a guy to load the bases to get to the next guy. He knew who was on deck. He'd always look on deck, and he knew the guy on deck is the guy he wanted. And that guy that was sitting there gave him more trouble. He would pretend he's pitching to him, throw him splits in the dirt, fastball away, whatever, and walk him in on purpose, unintentionally, to get to the next guy. He knew who he wanted to face, especially with 2 outs, or if it's second and third. He knows the guy on deck's guy he wants. He's walking that guy no matter what. He pitched around so many guys to get to the one guy he wanted to get, and it always worked out for him.
So that's really smart. And that's why I asked you that question about your game plan, because when I came up with the Cardinals, that's exactly how Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa went about it. They were like, look, if we're playing the Cubs, Sammy Sosa will not beat us. I don't care if there's nobody on base, anyone on base. The other side of that was this. They're like, look, he's the guy. He wants to get hits. He wants to drive in runs. If we pitch around the zone the entire time, he might get jumpy, and we put him in slump for the next week because he just starts swinging at stuff because he never gets anything to hit. It's amazing to me when I watch certain teams go and face guys and they just don't pitch. Let's say the Cardinals facing the Brewers, and they don't pitch around Christian Yelich.
Yep. So
how do you not watch it?
When Roger Clemens is pitching, if it's first and second, third base open, first and second, 2 outs, that's an open base to him. He didn't have to be first base at all. He's pitching around the guy to load the bases to get to that guy. And that's how he pitched his whole career.
Agreed. Jake, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's successful. That's smart pitching. And you talk about when you pitch the Cardinals. I watched you pitch when you were with the Cardinals. I grew up in the St. Louis area, so I got to watch you dominate back in the day, man. It was special. And but even back then, you were young and you were letting it rip, and there was no thought behind it. But there were certain points where you lock it in as a guy. We would say, today, you would probably be categorized as a stuff guy in today's game. You had the electric stuff. But there's points where you're a stuff guy, you have to lock it in, almost be a control guy and know when to pick your spots. Just like you said, you pitch around a certain guy and then you get back to letting it rip for the next guy, because if there's that one guy, Sammy Sosa's in the lineup, you're not going to let that guy beat you. So you have to dial it back to be a little more precise, and then you get back to doing what you need to do after that. But it's just smart pitching. And that's what, you like glass out right there. I didn't see it because the TV's out because of what's going on, but they've talked about how he's having success in Tampa. They're not setting up on corners. They just have the catcher set up down the middle, and they let him throw as hard as he can with everything that he has, which is good in a sense. But in a spot like that, World Series game 1 of a 0-0 game, you pull it inside at 100, guys are still going to hit that pitch out. Whereas if you're a guy that's Kershaw right now, who's dotting up everything, there's a big difference. And I think the stuff is a huge difference, but the mindset and the mentality of being able to execute is the ultimate separator in pitching.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how so many guys just rear back and let it eat. And it seems like the veteran guys, including you, who can now dominate or cut and sink in all 4 quadrants, are having almost as much or more success than the guys that are just rearing back, because now the hitters are so geared up for high speed that kind of thing is locking them up on a lot of different pitches. Have you noticed a difference in that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at everybody coming out of the bullpen. Everybody's throwing 98 plus coming out of the bullpen nowadays, and it's such a drastic change from what it was when I was drafted, which was 2008. So not that long ago, but it's night and day difference. Seems like everybody that gets drafted is already like a 100-mile-an-hour thrower. But that's a difference now, is nobody's really learning to pitch as much as they did back then. I learned how to pitch, and that's great. And now I've added velocity, but I also know how to pitch. So I can control the added velocity, whereas they teach velocity first now. And then we can teach you pitching. And we all know that
It doesn't
that's
happen.
way easier than done. But at the same time, that's like what a minor league system is. They weed those guys out that can't learn how to pitch, and it's their advantage of having so many guys like the Rays. You don't know a lot of these guys, and they come up and it's like, okay, Fairbanks is throwing 100, Alvarado's throwing 100, Castillo's throwing 100, and they all have, relatively good control. But how many of those types of players weeded themselves out because they couldn't throw strikes? But, that's just the game that we're in today. So I'm fortunate that I learned to be a pitcher before I gained my velocity. And it was a lot of just simplifying mechanics. Like when I grew up, I watched a teammate of yours, Matt Morris. Like he was the guy I watched with the Cardinals. And I was like, man, I like this guy a lot. I was young. I didn't, aspiring to be a baseball player. And it was a good guy to watch because it was a guy that had good stuff, but it was a pitcher, not a thrower. And then that transitioned to Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright. Now I transitioned to Zach Greinke. So that's like kind of how my mindset as a pitcher has evolved over the years, by watching guys that know how to pitch and know how to execute, that I can compare myself with, as opposed to a guy like Glasnow that's throwing 100 with a banger. Like that's just not me.
I think the most important thing for all the fans watching, especially young kids, that you have said, is not to strike guys out, but to miss the barrel. And if I could change one thing about, if I was able to go back in my pitching career, the strikeout was a glorified number, and I feel like I would just pitch to more contact. And that's something Matt Morris just talked about. He told me that he would throw his sinker right down the middle, just down in the zone, and that's the year that he won 20. He was like, when I got in trouble, I'd just make sure the sinker was down in the zone. He's like, I might miss on the inner half or the outer half, but as long as it's down, and he had a power sinker, he was getting the ground ball. So just great to hear you say that.
Yeah, that's my philosophy with pitching up in the zone. I try to execute down in the zone, and I know my misses are up, so that gives me the entire strike zone to play with, as opposed to trying to pick the top corner and throwing down to that, because a lot of guys get on top of the ball, so they throw down to that spot. I get underneath of it, so I start low and go to high, so I have the entire strike zone to play with. Somewhat like the same mindset as the sinker, but obviously for carry. But that's my mindset a lot of the time when I'm throwing that pitch. So I have the zone to work with, and then above the zone is also a swing and a miss. So that's my fastball mindset, as opposed to like what Morris said back then, sinker mindset, a middle and let it go down either way it wants to go.
Well, Jake, I live here in Tampa, and I've seen you pitch a lot for the Rays, watch a lot of Rays games here, and you got great stuff. You have great stuff, period. And you play for the Rays, and you still do now. But the fact that you have the mindset to adjust, to make adjustments from year to year and year to year and figure it out, it's going to make you a great pitcher for a long time. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, Tino. Appreciate that, man. Maybe I'll run into another Lightning game in the future.
You know he'll be there, bro. You know he'll be there.
I know. I was a couple rows behind him one time. I popped in to say hello, but that was, I think, 2 years ago now. But
but you got great stuff, man. You just keep adjusting year to year. That's what it is. It's they told me when I was a young guy coming up that you get to the big leagues and you become a good player, then it becomes a chess match from year to year. They adjust to you, you adjust to them, make the adjustments as years go on, and you'll be successful.
Jake, did Tino big league you when you popped in to say hello, or did he actually say hi?
Never.
No, he talked with me.
I was going to say, no way.
We were,
hey, there's no popping in. We're in the stands. We're real fans. We're in the stands.
Yeah, we were right there and just had a couple of social sodas and chalked it up for a little bit. So
social sodas.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome, man. Well, hey, just from somebody that's pitched in playoff games, and because I never have, and I don't know, and I'm sure that everybody out there watching probably hasn't as well. We were talking to Ben a little bit, and obviously from having his brothers Justin, I mean, like he was talking a little bit ago about how pitching playoff innings is so much more stressful than regular season games. It's almost like pitching one inning is almost pitching like 2 or 3.
It is, just because it might be a little different now with the crowds not being in it quite as much, but the crowd like lives and dies by every pitch in the postseason, as we all know as players in general. But as a pitcher, it's like it's amplified on you because you feel like you throw a ball and you're like 3-0 because the crowd's already just all over you if you're on the road, or if if you're at home, you feel like you can just punch out the world. But that's a huge factor that I think is talked about a lot, is the advantage of having home field in the postseason is such a great just deciding factor for that reason alone right there. But pitching in the postseason, I think it's important to get ahead. And I think early on, like what we saw with last time, was like he was getting behind, but when he was ahead first pitch, then he let it rip the entire bat. Like it's it's so much different to get behind as opposed to getting ahead. And we all know the numbers, as you guys as hitters, Rick, both way, but the numbers are so staggering if you're behind or ahead in the count early, first pitch. So the most important thing is getting that first pitch, getting ahead, so you can have that kind of dictate the at-bat as opposed to being behind, because it seems like the postseason guys get a little more, I'm trying to think of a good way to put them, they get a little more selective, I've noticed. I pitched against the Yankees last year, and first 2 games they were taking like microscopic balls off the plate, but they were comfortable. So I saw that and I was like, well, if they're going to take those pitches, I'm going to attack by moving the ball on and then get them into swing mode, blah, blah, blah. So I think establishing the strike zone as a pitcher is the most crucial thing in the postseason, just so guys have to put the ball in play as opposed to working walks.
Jay, and you've mentioned the postseason and pitching in the postseason, and with both of these guys today, Kirsch and Glasnow, the first inning was a little, like you could tell there were nerves involved. You could tell, they were trying to settle in, and then clearly, both of them settled in. And is there something, when pitching in the postseason, are nerves more involved in the first inning? Is it kind of like, if I can get through this first inning, I'll be okay?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's like the old football mentality of, okay, I need to get hit and then I'm going to be okay. Like, I need to get that first hit and then I'm going to be playing in the game. I'll be good to go. But there's something about playoff starts, it gives you that adrenaline, but that nervous adrenaline, because you're it's like, I've done this 100 times. Like, Kershaw's a Hall of Famer, and it gets you excited, but you have to figure out how to harness that and use it in your advantage. Like, you need to almost dial it back a little bit in the first inning, because your stuff's still going to play up. It's almost like guys are pitching at 110, 120% in the first innings, and then it gets back to where they need to go after that. But it's almost less is more. Like, just for instance, how your brother used to throw of, all right, I'm going to be 90, 92 in the first inning. And then when it came down to it, 6th, 7th inning, that's on 98 to 100 and really letting it eat. So, not to that extreme when it comes to the postseason, but that's kind of the mindset is, if you can get through it by being calm and not really going full effort, then it just sets you up nicely for the way the game's going to go. But yeah, that first inning, it's definitely a nerve-wracking one, and it's an exciting one, and that's what baseball is all about, and that's why we do it.
Okay.
In your opinion, are guys performing better because there's no fans in this playoff situation?
I think younger guys are. I think that we've seen a lot of guys come up that probably wouldn't have got big league time this year because of what's been going on. But it's been an easier transition for those guys because A, they've never experienced a big league game to begin with, so they don't really know what to compare it to. And B, after that, if they were at the alternate training site, that's a tough place to go be training at during any type of season, and you're just there to work out and you go home, and then you're like, all right, if I can get through this, it's going to feel like the big league's going to a big league, stadium to play without any fans in it. So I think it's been a better experience for younger guys as opposed to guys that have, experienced what it's like to have the adrenaline of the crowd and feed off that type of energy. So not to say that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, I think we'd all love to have fans there this year, but I think that's why we're seeing so many young guys have a lot of success this year, because the stress levels and the energy is a little different than what it is in a normal season.
Well, Jake, bro, I can't thank you enough for coming on here, bro. We're all Odorizzi fans, bro, for real, man. We wish you the best of luck, bro. Minnesota Twins, dude. I know you're excited to get back on the bump, right back to where you belong, bro. Hey, all the success in the world we wish you, my man. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right,
I enjoyed
Jake,
talking
take
with
it easy,
y'all.
huh?
And yeah, appreciate it. Take care.
Yes, sir. See you, baby. Wow, bro, that was legit. Hey, but if there's something I need to talk about, bro, the fact that we thought Cody Bellinger had a dislocated shoulder, bro, hanging out of the socket, and old boy goes piece, pull side, 98 middle in, bro.
The rope-a-dopa. The rope-a-dope.
He has one of those things where listen, it's a condition, but he has one of those things where it pops out and you put it back in. A lot of kids have that in their hair. It's a normal thing. He's fine.
I mean, it didn't look like it was fine when his arm.
Dr. Tino coming in hot.
Listen, kids here have that. They have that where your shoulder pops out and they put it back. There's nothing wrong with it. You forearm the guy, and it's just That's why he just started like doing left-handed shit now.
What do you-
I mean, come on. That
what do
ball-
you mean,
We
kids?
need to
What do you
give him
mean,
some
kids?
bands, bro. We need to give him some bands, bro.
What do you mean, kids here? Something in the water?
Opinion on this?
Middle end, 99 miles an hour.
And
You're never
turned on
extending
it.
like that with a bad arm, okay? There's no bad arm there. That's 100% full strength extension.
You
Period.
went top hand heavy. He said, forget the bottom hand. I'm just going to top hand it out.
That's it, dog.
I'm
I'm a top-handed. Wow. By the way, man, today's going awesome, bro. We starting
That's
to
just
pull
bottom
guests.
hand, man.
We starting to pull guests up in here for this show, bro. This is amazing, bro. Like I'm loving this, dude.
Hey,
Like,
Jake was great. Jake was great. I love.
Yeah.
I just reiterated, man. I love the fact that he talked about just missing the barrel and letting guys make contact, but just not hard contact. Like that's really
He was
important.
crystal clear, man. He made some great points there and very soft-spoken, perfect.
well, by the way, man, like he's a pitcher. He said he learned to pitch first and then added velocity, right?
How he adjusts from year to year to year, just every year.
He's not that drive line guy, like right out of the gates, where it's just like we're just gonna rip these things back there, bro. We're gonna throw 100 miles an hour because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You throw 100 miles an hour. We just saw there. If you miss in the middle part of the plate, the big boys will get you, bro.
Yeah.
Even with an arm out of socket.
Even, like, but it's a condition, so he's okay. He's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, everybody's doing it. Like Tom John.
That's it, bro. Nothing else.
And Tino said kids here have it. Like, what, is something in the water
like,
there?
you
Like,
got
what do you
a
mean
mouse in your
kids
pocket,
there?
bro. What do you got?
Pro big leaguers in Florida, man. Sorry.
Well, no, I've seen people have it there. They have like your arm like it's like a little rowers have it. A lot of rowers have it. It pops out, they put it back. It's not an injury. That's why he did that whole thing, the forearm thing. It popped out, and he just high went back in. It was just wasn't his point.
He didn't do it this time. He did a little toe tap this time,
Yeah.
bro. He did the
Right.
toe five. That's what we were doing when quarantine first hit, bro. I was high-fiving people with my feet. I was like, bro, don't touch me, dog. I'll hit you in my feet. You know what I mean?
Rick, but I thought you brought up a good point when you asked Jake the question, do you think the no fans has helped or hurt guys? And I'll tell you what it made me think of was the Astros with with their young pitchers in the postseason that stepped up so much with Framber and Paredes coming out of the pen. Like, these guys hadn't pitched past Double-A. And they're just coming in the ALCS and just mowing guys down. It's almost like they didn't, couldn't understand, couldn't appreciate the levity of this situation and how much it meant. Just because it's almost like it was a backfield game in a big league stadium.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot, and it seems like we keep saying how much young guys are having success, and really, because now I'm a little bit more involved in the youth sports because my kids are 8 and 9 and in this arena. I almost think that these guys are playing so many tournaments. I mean, there's a tournament every weekend, right? They're playing for a championship every weekend. That it almost seems like these younger millennials, and I don't want that they're used to the pressure point stage.
Oh, bro, these kids are getting interviewed at like 10 years old, bro. Of
They've
course.
already played 5 different World Series in 5 different states. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys having a lot of success really fast.
And we just got a question in from Charlotte, actually, that's asking the same thing we're talking about right now. How much of a difference do you think it makes? And I think it sounds like all of us are in consensus that I think, whoa, did he get that?
Oh, is that Kiermaier, bro? Did he pop him? Oh,
He got it.
He's back!
bro. Woo!
Big for the Rays.
Wow, the outlaw, bro. That's huge.
Huge.
Humongous.
Because what's he been hitting? And no offense to him, he's the greatest defender of ever.
I'm like 50 feet behind here.
193.
Take that.
If they get production out of him, that's a huge, you know this, Tino, that's a big deal for them.
He's not in the lineup for his offense.
Yeah, the guy, I mean, he's a good player, great defender, whatever. If he ever bunts, just bunt a few times, he flies. Nobody wants to field a bunt in the postseason. It's the way it is. They don't do it all year long, and they throw the ball away, and he never bunts.
That's an interesting point, Tino. Nobody wants to field it. You don't do it often during the year. And now in the biggest of the situations, nobody wants to do it. It's even more tense, right?
It drives me nuts. Brett Gardner's one of my favorite players. I love Brett Gardner in the playoffs. So first and second, no outs in a tight game. Man, just put a bunt down. You're fast enough to beat the sacrifice bunt out. And they'll throw it away and stuff happens, but these guys just want to swing away. But good for him to hit a home run. But if he drops the bunt down, imagine it gets Kershaw. If he pulls the bunt past Kershaw, left-handed pitcher, he's going to be safe.
All you got to do is put it on the grass, and he's going to be safe. Kiermaier is one of the fastest. He's like a deer. But at the end of the day, man, like for me, when I'm
That's a
watching,
weapon, too, though. the guys aren't even playing in anymore because they're not expecting a bunt.
Well, I'm watching this right. I'm sorry, Rick, not to cut you off. I'm watching this right now. I'm watching how Kershaw backs up from that, right? Like how he comes back from giving up that home run right now. He's down 2-0. Gets a swing right there, but still, come on, man. And Kiermaier's out of the 8 hole. They got Zunino in the 9 hole. Listen, man, Zanino's hit 4 home runs this postseason. Like, don't sleep on him. He'll run into one every now and then. By the way, that's the thing about the game now. Batters 1 through 9 have the ability. They're in scoring position. Like Reggie Jackson said, I'm in scoring position once I step to the plate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But you're right.
How he bounces back from that.
The 2-run homer by Bellinger, 1 inning earlier. I mean, to come right back and pop a put one up there on the board right now is huge. It's not a hero.
Well, he ended up getting out of it, but you're right, Swish. And this is the inning in the playoffs, the 5th, 6th, is where Kershaw starts getting in trouble. And I think the homer there to be able to get out of it there was huge for him because now we're getting ready to go next inning for him into the 3rd time through the lineup, and it's in his head. In the playoffs, this is where I start struggling. I think that punch out was big for him there.
Oh, huge, bro.
I don't know the exact pitches, but probably about 70 pitches, though.
Well, Kershaw pitching great, bro. He's got 8 punch outs and only given up 2 knocks, bro. And one just happened to be a solo Johnny. So right now, hey, this is the spot, right? This is managing. When Clayton Kershaw has come back out in the 6th inning, right? Because we all know that Dave Roberts loves him some Clayton Kershaw. And he's gotten in trouble in the past by keeping him out there a little too long. I'm interested to see, man, if he pulls it hard. I can't really see the bullpen.
I'm not a manager. I'm keeping him out there, man. He's pitching too good. But
today was pitching good. Is he going to ride him out? He looks like he's going back out there, bro. He looks like he's getting ready to go back out.
I'm a pitcher first, so he's going back out there. He's his guy. He has to know that I need him again. Quite possibly, I'm going to need him again. If I'm the manager, I'm with you, Tino. He's going back out for one more inning.
Well, he's a young pitcher, first time in the playoffs. You know what I mean? You got to get out here some confidence. This guy needs to go back out, like Verlander and Scherzer. They're not coming out. The manager can take them out. They're not coming out.
Well, I think you guys can prove. I mean, you can see him there in the dugout wrapping his arm back up. He's not coming out of the game.
Ain't nobody warming up in the bullpen neither, bro.
Yeah.
Which is thing too, right? Because he's going back to the top of the lineup. So that's a big, big moment. And Ben, you called it. You called the 6th inning being a scoring moment. And this is the top of the lineup. So not only is he letting him go back out, but we're going to see 1, 2, 3. He's going to see him for the 3rd time.
Hey, I don't want to say it right now, but this game is cruising, by the way, bro. I mean, we're already in the 6th inning. I'm like, wow, bro.
Wish. What are you doing?
Let me reload.
What are you doing?
All night, baby. You keep this face on this show all night, bro.
Wait, so I'm winning you during every playoff game just to have more fun.
Swish, that's almost up there with the you don't talk about a no-hitter rule. I mean, that's up there in the you don't talk about it.
I jinxed it? Yeah,
we'll
right.
See.
I don't believe in that stuff, dog.
We'll see.
Me neither.
I mean, come on, bro. Game 1 of the World Series, both number 1 seeded teams from both leagues. Come on, bro. This is what it's all about.
Right, I'm down. I mean, it's not like we're having fun.
By the way, I mean, hey, Rick, how many runs did you say they were going to score today?
You know what? I didn't get that question, but I'm gonna go. I know the over/under was on 6.5. What'd you say? 7?
No, I think I went with 6. I took the under.
It was 6. And so we're 2-1 now, which is cheating for me, right? So we're talking about bullpens. Kershaw's still going. I'm gonna go with 8, man. I think the Dodgers are gonna break out because if the Dodgers win this game, we said it probably would be a sweep. The Dodgers might run to the house.
So the over/under in this game was 6.5. You got to think 2-1 in the bottom of the 5th. It's probably still there, maybe a 6 at this point. And you're saying 8, 9 runs scored.
Well, he says the bats are just getting started, bro.
Got to go big or go home.
Mookie's going deep right here, bro. Right?
Dude, the Tampa Bay Rays keep challenging those Dodger hitters with fastballs. That ain't gonna last for long.
No, I know. Totally, man. You're right. No doubt about it, man. You know what's funny, man, is that the Los Angeles Dodgers, I think, for the power hitting team that they are, they haven't hit a whole lot of home runs this postseason, right? They have scored so many other ways. And, it's like for me, it's even like, watching a team like the Houston Astros, which, back in the day, they never struck out. They put the ball in play all the time. And I've always been such a firm believer in the team that can put the ball in play more often than not in the postseason usually ends up winning those ball games, right? Because you consistently trying to hit that barrel and you finally get a few of them. bro, with the strength that these guys have and the velocity, bro, come on, man. You at least got to take your chance. I mean, like, even for myself, I'm like somebody like Gary Sanchez, bro. Like, hits 30 bombs a year, but this year he's punching out at like a 48% clip. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, these guys have all the strength in the world, but if you can't put the barrel on the bat, then it's no good for anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Look at this stat down here. 63% of Game 1 winners have gone on to win the World Series. 63%.
Lead-off walk score. Here we go.
Right, here you go, bro. Here comes your 8 runs, bro. Here comes.
It's 2020. It's 2020, not this year.
Tino, did you just change?
No, same shirt.
No. Same shirt, bro.
I was about to say, I think Tino perspirating through that shirt over there had to get up and go change.
No, Tino was looking for a ring light, bro. He was looking for a ring light, bro.
Yogi,
Nothing spells World Series more than Yogi. 10 rings. 10 rings.
This many, bro.
World Series rings.
This many. Wow.
Hey, you know, Tino was trying to go change the luck for Tampa Bay Rays. So
that's what he was doing.
You just got
I honestly won 7 games, period.
You got my boy Ryan Yarbrough, college teammate of mine, warming up down there in the bullpen for the Rays.
Oh, you went to school with him? Awesome, bro.
Yeah, so I went to school with Yarbrough, and he actually transferred in from a JUCO. And I remember I was playing in summer ball, and he hadn't yet transferred. He was getting ready to. And somebody comes up to me and goes, this is your boy. He goes to ODU. And I was like, no, he doesn't. He ended up coming there the next year, and I'm telling you, he was throwing 82, 83. By his junior year, the guy was throwing 90, 92 from this angle, which gets guys out clearly with that sweeping slider, and I'm super pumped up for him, man. There goes Mookie taking off. Wow.
Well, right here, man, also too for the Rays. I mean, Tino, bro, you know, we were talking about earlier in the I guess the pregame sort of, is the different arm angles and the different things that the Tampa Bay Rays, you know, the problems that they cause for pitchers, right? You got Glasnow throwing 800 miles an hour, and then you bring in little Yarbrough throwing little doo-doo change-ups and thinkers and stuff, right?
You got to get loose with McClanahan. McClanahan's the left-handed guy throws 100.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy 100.
Yeah, bro, he came in the game last week. I was like, bro, who's this little guy? Comes in throwing 100, bro. I was like, oh, jeez. All right, that's it, bro. I know who he is now, bro.
I think it's important to note when Swish says doo-doo change-up, he doesn't mean bad. He's talking about, like, the velo on it. It is not.
Yeah, totally. Like, you know, the Glasnow throwing, you know, those rise balls.
For those of you all listening at home,
Yarbrough comes in with this motion this way. It's completely different, right? It's a completely different mindset. So from going to 100 down to like 84, 85 with sink and cut and tunneling Yarbrough has is tremendous. So for him, I mean, it's so different, bro.
It's kind of like when you face a knuckleball pitcher for 3 at-bats, like Wakefield. Then the 4th at-bat, some guy throwing 98. It's like 150. You're like, you know, it's just like, whoa, it's that 1 at-bat after 3 at-bats against the knuckleball. It's tough.
This is a big at-bat here for Seager. Runner on second, nobody out. I mean, the old school mentality, and everybody says, well, get him over, ground ball to the right side. That's not baseball anymore, though. So, is that his thought process right now? Is he trying to get the runner over, or is he trying to drive the ball in the gap?
He is. I think when you get guys, he is. With guys like that, like got good hitters, the manager gives you the option. You know, you try to pull the ball if you can, or if you don't want to. But I mean, he's good enough to pull the ball. But if he doesn't, it's just by accident. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to do both, right? Hit it in the gap and pull the ball.
Yeah.
Well, these are those huge moments in the game, right? You know, these are the little things that you look back on tomorrow morning and be like, wow, if he could have gotten that runner over to third, then this could have happened, right? Like, it's almost like, you know, at least when I was with the Yankees, we had these accountability boards and kind of like, you know, runner on third, less than 2 out. Who could drive those guys in? Runner on second, nobody out. Did you get him over, right? Double the points if you got him over and in. So guys practice this stuff. Situational hitting is crucial and no bigger right now than in game 1 of the World Series right now. You know what I mean? For the Dodgers, because if you open this thing up to 3-1, it's a different ballgame.
And now you got Ben. Now you have first and second no outs.
Oh, geez. See, now it walks him with a break. That's what I'm saying. 3-2 breaking balls, bro. Like, you got to at least get it in the zone a little bit, right?
I mean, you got Munchie on deck there now. I mean,
that was an NCP.
He took his shot at getting him out, and that was you go ahead and go to first. I can't throw anything around the zone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd be happy. I'm not a manager these days. I get that. I'd be happy. You got to punt this guy over in the World Series game 1.
Right now, you got to bunt them both over.
You have to, but I doubt they'll do it.
Right now, you got to get them both over.
But who you got coming up? Who's coming up right now?
Justin Turner. He's not bunting. He's
He
not
ain't
bunting.
bunting, bro. He ain't bunting. No
Who you
way.
got? Muncy and Turner? Turner, Muncy?
No, if somebody like
well,
Brett Gardner comes up, right? Yeah, you can bunt him over, right? Maybe somebody like a Joey Wendell, you can bunt him over, right? But with somebody like Justin Turner, man, he knows how to handle the bat. I can promise you this, bro. He's going to be looking to stay inside some fastballs, shoot something over there in the right center, right?
Yeah.
Because the last thing he wants to do is to roll over a ball. If he rolls over the ball, it's an automatic double play. So for him as a right-handed hitter in this situation, you really have to think about staying inside the baseball, pushing that ball to the right side, keeping you away from the rollover.
The saving grace is they got Will Smith up in 2 at-bats, which we know, who knows? He manipulated anywhere he wants.
Yeah.
Right now, even for myself, I would have been a much better postseason hitter, bro, if I was able to go the other way. But you get up there in these huge situations, and I'm so geeked up, bro, and I'm ready, and I'm trying to launch mode. And, bro, come on, man, you can just see it in my eyes, man, sawdust coming out of my back because I'm so tense, you know?
Oh, he had Mookie. He had him there.
I've been there.
He had him leaning.
You can take off right there.
Yeah, you had him leaning, but
Woo!
We have to retake that.
Nah, Mookie said, you ain't getting me, dog.
He's a smart player. Very smart.
He went. Hey! I tell you what, also, too, you don't see many pitchers step off as much as Glasnow has today. I feel like that's, they don't pay attention to base runners nearly as much because, guys, the threat of stealing bases isn't there, right? Like, no one's even thinking about that because I'd much rather make an out at the plate than I would make an out on the base paths,
Yeah.
Glasnow's over 100 pitches right now. I don't know if I would have thought that he would have made it to 100 pitches to start. I feel like the Rays kind of, have a grip on all of that and like you're saying, their algorithm for what they're doing. But right now, man, that 4th inning, bro, he threw 30 pitches in the 4th inning. Comes back out here in the 5th.
101 right now.
He needs to get himself out.
Yeah.
And now he's going through the teeth of the lineup right now.
Yes.
Swish, you mentioned, Turner's mindset here, wanting to stay up the middle the other way. You think also, in a situation like this, first and second, nobody out, you're kind of pumped up. Not only is that the direction you want to go, but you're going to be a little more amped up, a little more jumpy, and thinking, okay, up the middle the other way, kind of allows yourself, to get into that mindset of waiting back just a little bit.
Yeah, for somebody like me, man, it was hard for me to keep my emotions right now. Justin Turner, bro, he's cool as a cucumber, bro. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been in this position so many times before, had so many huge hits for this team. But I can promise you, man, the last thing he's going to want to be doing right now is pulling that ball to the left side. Unless it's in the air, that's the only way it's going on that left side. Because right now, the 2 swings and misses he's had on fastballs, he's looking to take that ball to center field right now.
He's definitely got to be trying to hit it in the air or strike out. Mentally, get the ball in the air or strike out.
Wow, and then Mookie steals third right there. That's what he does, bro. That completely changes my mindset of my at-bat. Now,
he punched out.
All he wants to do is elevate, bro.
He punched out.
Oh, and he punched out. Man.
But that's a big out.
Well, by the way, he ended up doing the job, right?
Right.
He didn't do it, but Mookie did it.
Strike out.
He owes Mookie dinner is what he needs because
him and Corey both, bro.
Mookie got it done there for him.
Yeah, you could see, man, he was trying to stay inside that pitch.
Yep.
He's trying to pull that inside fastball. That's why Glasnow was jamming him in there. He knows exactly.
Hey, give credit to Seager to being ready to run.
Yeah.
Right? He can watch a Mookie and win at the same time. He didn't wait. Obviously, that was probably a called steal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he was trying to stay inside that pitch right there. That's why he didn't get to it. And Mookie maybe gave him a look like, hey, I'm going.
Hey, you can't walk Muncy right now to face the DH Will Smith.
So are you guys a little surprised? So you got Yarbrough in the pen, lefty. You got Muncy at the plate. I guess them not bringing in Yarbrough right here is saying we're pitching around Muncy, basically.
Or you're pitching for the strikeout, and Glasnow has the stuff to strike him out, right? Yarbrough, he definitely does strike people out, but not as daunting of a task. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Glasnow has literally the electricity in his fastball still. And this will be, if he doesn't get Muncy out, this could be, he faces Will Smith, but then after that, I think he's got to be coming out of the game.
Yeah, you're saying.
Are you going to bring in Yarbrough to face the righty Will Smith?
That's what I'm saying. No, I think he pitches back. But then again, he might be at 110, 115 pitches by that point. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's – I think if he doesn't get Muncy out, this could be his last bat.
Oh!
Zane!
Wow, look at Mookie, bro. Look at it go. Woo! Picking them J's out, bro. Picking them up, putting them down, bro. Looking good doing it, brother.
That's going to be closer than it looked, I think.
Well, I know you're rooting for Tampa. I'd be begging too.
Yeah, Zanino didn't look like he packed it. He'd be spinning back around doing the whole thing. By the way, what a play by Diaz. Almost made that play.
No, he didn't get it.
Good play.
What a jump by Mookie, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was gone on contact.
What a player! What an overall he might be the best overall baseball player in the game, and I talk about that from a mental standpoint too. Like, there's nothing he can't do.
I say, Sammy, he's the best player of the game. You say Mike Trout's fantastic. This guy's the best player.
Yeah. Well, by the way, man, you got to think of all the other things he's done, right? To be a bowler, you got to be able to be focused. You got to be able to keep that focus for 10 frames, and that's exactly what he's done. He's had I don't know how many different 300 games. Bro, I'm telling you, that has something to do with his mindset.
It's hard to argue with it, man. There's nothing like base running. Like, he's excellent at every single, thing of the game, right? Base running, defense. It doesn't matter. Like, he's never not in a play that's important. If there's a backup play, he's not just standing around watching. Just somehow he's already in position. Like, this guy is like there.
Yep, Mookie Betts is the reason why the Dodgers will win this World Series.
I think so too.
Yep.
I think so too.
God, I'm telling you, man. I said it at the beginning of the game. When the lights are on the lights are on the brightest, Mookie Betts will show up. No doubt about it, man. And by the way, if you saw Mookie Betts walking down the street and he had his, he got his quarantine mask on, bro, like sunglasses, he wouldn't look like the best player in the big leagues, bro, for sure.
He's a good player. I agree, though. If they do win the World Series, though, was the missing part that they have over the years. That guy's like, and the rest of the team's going to feed off that.
Yeah. Andrew Friedman's going to have to send him a jet for Christmas just to give him a whole jet. You can have this. Thanks for the sign.
Guys, I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting here shocked that Glasnow's. I mean, he's up at 110 pitches in his first World Series start, and we've talked about it a few times now. Every pitch in the playoffs, and even more so the World Series, is amplified. To let him throw 110 pitches, I'm personally shocked.
I think Swish nailed it. They needed the strikeouts. They got Yarbrough up, but once they got to second and third, like the strikeout power stuff was there. Swish, I think you hit that right on the head.
Yeah, well, I also think the Dodgers have done a great job within their lineup, going right, left, all the way down, right? That provides a lot of problems, especially for a lot of these Rays guys. Listen, the Rays guys back in the day used to be coming in for one guy, sitting down, somebody else coming in, right? So now these guys don't have that ability. The way you set your lineup, the way Dave Roberts has set his lineup, he's ready for that. He's ready to combat all the different problems that the Rays bullpen can give you. So to be able to come up in a situation like this, what are you going to do? You got to keep Glasnow in, who's extremely struggling, or are you going to bring in Yarbrough, who's throwing 15 miles an hour less than Glasnow is now?
Yeah, he's not struggling, man. He got a weak ground ball to first base.
Yep.
That's good pitching, It's not like he's struggling. He's still throwing 98 miles an hour. I mean, that's all Mookie Betts there. Nobody else scores that ball to first base.
I mean, hey, do you think that you think the bullpen can be, gassed out from playing in that Game 7? Do you think that the guys are tired? He's saying, wow, man, like, we can't afford to bring Yarbrough in right now because what happens if he struggles? Like you're saying, I mean, both teams had to play in Game 7s. So, I mean, definitely everybody's, a little worn out for sure. Gotta be.
Will Smith, man, coming through again.
Oh, jeez, look at him, bro. Getting jiggy with it. Hey, bro, how many runs they scored so far, bro? Ricky might be right on point, bro.
Oh, Vegas.
It's amazing. There you go. He out. Yep.
Now he's done.
Yep. Yarbrough's coming in to face Jock. Jock's coming up next.
Oh, gosh.
But this
you want to come now? Jock's going to the trees.
Yep. And who they going to bring in? Kike? Kike coming in, right?
Yeah.
They ain't going to waste them because they're already up 4-1. Jock's
going in. Bring him in, yeah.
I know. Can we talk about Kike's dirty mustache he had at the beginning of the season, bro? How fun with that.
By the way, everybody's talking about Bellinger's homer 2 days ago. Nobody's talking about Kike's homer. That was huge.
True.
Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah.
Way bigger than Bellinger's.
I think the stat was he was the only pinch hitter to be able to hit a game tying or win. Yeah,
Verlander's deal.
Yeah.
By the way, but that inning doesn't happen if Mookie and Corey don't steal, right?
Yeah.
If they don't do that double steal right there, that inning don't happen, because then all of a sudden that ball goes to first base at the double play ball, right, out of the inning.
Yep.
See, those little things, right, that you can look back on and be like,
Yandy Diaz made a good play there at first base. I mean, quickest as possible. Nobody else scores in that play besides Mookie.
Yeah.
No, I agree. 100%. You know, and honestly, just to talk about Seager for a second, because I got a little brief preview of it. If you go back and actually look at his OPS and numbers, and you talk about MVP, like he's actually I know it's a shortened season, but he's way ahead of almost like half of the MVPs that we've named MVP in the last 15 years.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
His season has been absolutely off the chart.
Hey, by the way, dude, a 60-game season, that's made for me, bro.
Me too.
How are we holding together for 60 games? Let's go, bro. That's right up my alley.
I can hit a fastball. So
That's what I'm
April,
saying.
where they got the curveball going, I was ready.
Hey, man, I can get hot for 60 games, bro. Just don't give me the rest of the 62. You know what I'm saying? Or the rest of the 100 too. You know what I mean?
You downplay my man Seager.
Say it again. No, I'm not downplaying, bro.
I know, I'm only
No
busting.
No.
I mean, by the way,
They-
there were so many things that he went through. Remember on the injury-plagued season, right? The hip, he had the teeth.
Red, yeah.
And you brought it up to EK earlier. Like, this dude was almost about to be traded, right? And now, if he continues to keep hitting the way he did in the NLCS, I mean, he's already broke I don't know how many different Dodgers postseason records, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down. I think the one thing that I've noticed is that, he, at least in the NLCS, it looked like he was hacking at every pitch. Now he's taking pitches now. I think he's realizing, like, wow, these guys they're not throwing me strikes, so I got to make sure I get the ball back in the zone. But when you're seeing the baseball looks like it's this big to him right now. It's like a beach ball coming in for sure. So, I mean, to have him in that lineup as your hottest hitter, I mean, wow, that's amazing for him.
Yeah, so Eric brought up earlier, he was on the show here, he said that he's hitting the ball the hardest balls throughout the postseason here, or the last series. What he didn't mention, though, was he's killing left-handed pitchers, too. Hitting homers off left-handed pitchers, not just right-handed, just lefties he's killing, which is a big plus for the Dodger lineup.
All right, guys, before we get back to it,
That's why they didn't bring in Yarbrough.
we got a quick throwback photo to roll to before this inning gets back underway. Let's see what we got here.
What is that? Who is that guy?
that you?
Bro.
Is that you?
Take it easy on those carbs, Swish. Take it easy on those carbs, kid.
I don't know, zoom this in. I can't even see who that is, or maybe I don't want to.
No, you might not want to, bro. I only had one tattoo at that point, bro. That was a young body right there, bro.
Whoa!
Oh,
Look at this guy. Look
look,
at
another one.
Who's that guy?
Look at that AAA dude.
Are you modeling? Like, what are you doing here? That's my question. Was this a photo shoot?
That's your sister. Sorry.
Dude, bro. Unbelievable.
Just kidding.
But here we go, man. We got Yarbrough up in a huge situation. Cody Bellinger, obviously big bomb last AB. Right now, I mean, obviously a lot of different things, for Bellinger right now. He's facing a lefty right now. I mean, this is more than any time than ever. Really needs to keep that mindset of staying there to left center, because I can promise you, Yarbrough ain't going to be throwing any balls on the inside part of the plate if you don't, for strikes. Just like he did right there, fastball in off the plate, because right now with where, Bellinger's honey hole is, it's right there middle in or middle. But if you can hit at the bottom part of the zone or the outer half of the zone, the pitcher's going to be successful.
Tino, what did you do to combat left-handed relievers, right? Because they're the ones that are bury it in and then go way away. Like, was there an approach you had that changed?
I definitely had to short everything up. Like my stride, I'd spread out a little bit more. I almost didn't even stride, because back when I played, it was more of like when you got the lefty special guy come in and he's dropped down, sidearm guy. It was always a weird guy. It wasn't like a regular over-the-top guy. So it was like that front shoulder is so huge. I shortened my stride. I almost didn't even stride at all. I just let the ball travel as best I can and tried to see it out of the plate and hit it to left field. If I tried to pull anything, I was in trouble. Because when you see a left-handed guy coming in on you like that pitch there, and you're thinking about pulling it, you're going to yank it way foul or foul it off your ankle. So you got the really middle way. In this situation here, man, on third base for a sac fly, I'm looking for something just middle way and just really try to drive it out there in the air somewhere.
Smart.
I mean, you want to stay. Obviously, Yarborough wants to go slider, maybe roll over for a double play, but you want to really try to stay behind and get out in the air.
Ben, in college, what did Yarborough do to get lefties out? Did you guys ever talk about his, formula, how he tried to approach that?
It's very similar. I mean, and I told you at the beginning of his career, he didn't have near the velo, so he couldn't go in off the plate much. But now, and it makes a big difference, even though he's throwing whatever it may be, 90 to 92, with that big sweeping slider that Bellinger has to look out for here. 90 to 92 off the plate in can get you. And I think mostly in college to lefties, he would throw that slider and just make everybody get themselves out. But being able to add that velo, Bellinger's got to protect the outside of the plate here. But to be able to sneak, and Swish talked about it, if he's going to go in, he's got to get it in off the plate because 92 is not going to beat him in the zone. But to get it in off the plate, it looks like that's what he's doing right here.
That's what I'm saying, man. If you miss middle on this dude right now, I mean, he's going to hurt you. There's one place that he can really do damage right now with the swing that he's got, and that's middle in. Middle to middle in, belt high. That's right where he's at right now. So like you're saying, Yarborough he better get it in off the plate, or like you're saying, really utilize that slider. Right now, Belly's having a great at-bat, battling off pitches, inside, outside. Right now, I'm telling you, Yarborough's going to have to make a pitch because somebody's got to do something to get the Rays out of the trouble they're in.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like, too, from a pitcher's perspective, right? Like, I can nibble, and maybe right here, maybe I give him something to nibble on the outside part of the plate. The problem with that is if he does slap it over the infield for a base hit, a run scores, right? So that's your dilemma. Do I risk giving in one or do I risk where I know? Because he does have a hole up and in, right? Do I risk missing in there for a home run, but I can get a strikeout? Or do I just give him the slap, base hit away that may be a run? That'd be the turmoil inside you.
I mean, he's thrown 2 back-to-back heaters in right on the inside part of the plate, and Bellinger's fouled him off. It's almost like he's looking for that slider. What do you throw here? There's the slider. He took a hack at it. Jesus.
Take it easy, hey, Belly. Take it easy, big guy.
Hey, his arm is back in socket, by the way.
Oh, my God.
I think we see what he was looking for.
It's out of socket right now after that's what he
You got some good Advil going.
You got something good in there, bro. Yeah, but that's the thing right now. It's like kind of like, wow, man. I mean, he's just taking hacks at that slider right now. Definitely not feeling super comfortable with that pitch.
Yeah, you have to go after back-to-back fastballs in, then him taking that swing on a slider. You had to go back to that fastball in. You had to.
You throw a 2-2, he threw a couple fastballs on the inside. I think he saw that bad swing that Bellinger had on that slider right there. I mean, because obviously where he's trying to hit it. He's trying to hit it in the upper deck to right field.
Yep.
Right? So that's why when you hit location, that's why when you talk about velocity, in my opinion, I don't think it means as much. Location, for me, has to be it, right? It's just like buying a house, bro. Location, right? Like, that's where it's got to be. Because right now, man, like, everybody throws 100. That's nothing new. But if you're missing part middle, right, you're seeing. I mean, 88 miles an hour in off the plate was getting in there. But the 98-mile-an-hour fastball that Glasnow threw didn't get in there, and Belly hit it for a homer.
Yep.
Yeah, be the same as saying it's not where he started, it's where he finished, right?
Wow,
So
big knock.
Well, that's a big knock.
Big out.
He just picked him up. I was big out there for Bellinger, but that just nullifies that.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, you go back to Greg Maddux, we talked a lot about that, and you talked about buying a house location. We talked about it's not where you start, where you finish. But, Tino, like, you ever face Greg Maddux and he front hips you? Right? The ball comes out of his hand, looks like it's going to hit your front hip. You take it to the inside part of the play. You almost can't swing at it.
Yeah, what he does, though, normally the left-handed hitters, he did to me and he killed me. He'll throw a fastball away down on the outer half of the two-seamer for strike one. Then he'll throw a cutter right in on your hands there and just push you back a little bit, just a little in the inner half.
Yep.
So now you look at that cutter again. He throws the two-seamer right at you there, and it breaks back over this way. And it's just, now it's strike two, then they'll change it away. He just knew how to, like, put the little cutter, like, push you back. When the two-seamer coming here looked just like the same pitch and just came back over for strike three.
I couldn't. For me as a lefty, I couldn't, even though I knew it was coming, the front inside hip, I couldn't swing at it.
I couldn't either. If you hit it foul.
Even though I knew it was going to come back to the plate, it was like I can't even force
exactly, right. I'd like to see Yarbrough splits this year, lefty to righty, and I'm sure we probably have them. I can check it in the packet. But it just goes to show you right there what the Dodgers lineup can actually do to you. Left, right, left, right, left, right? So all of a sudden, Bellinger comes up, makes an out. Now all of a sudden, who's coming up next? One of our better right-handed hitters in Chris Taylor. And then who's coming up after that? Jock? Nope, not anymore, bro. Kike's in now. See, Dodgers have the depth to be able to, just kind of be able to match anything the Rays want to do, right? And depth is huge to be able to have.
They are dangerous. They are dangerous.
Bro,
it better end 5-1 if I want my 6 runs to hold.
Wait.
Well, it ain't ending 5-1. Well, unless he throws.
Oh, that ain't it, bro. No box. Who was talking about
this? The man again.
Who was talking about this being the scoring inning, bro? That was huge. Who was that? Was that you, Ben? Wow.
You said the 6th inning.
Even the fifth, not even the 6th yet.
I called it 6.
You called the positioning of it, though.
I called, I was in between 5th or 6th, but I can't take the credit for it because
you kind of can because you called the transition between the starter and the bullpen. Really, is what you were going. But you leaned it on Kershaw, but really it happened to the team you picked.
Hey,
Thanks,
Rick.
I owe you dinner.
Rick, I got a question for you.
Buffalo Bill's my favorite, bud. You let me know what's happening.
Hey, coming from the pitching standpoint, right now, this has been a long inning. I mean, I don't even know how many minutes we've been sitting here rapping, but for somebody like Clayton Kershaw, right? Like, how does he stay warm, right? Can that take you in and out of your feel for what you've been doing on the mound so far?
I think you can, and I think one thing that happens mentally is like now you instead of being laser focused, you get into you can lazily get into the side of, oh man, all I got to do is just barely compete. Where you should go out there and say, even though we're up by 5. I need to really make pitches, right? You need to concentrate on getting one out at a time. All I got to do is just get through it.
But they also maybe think about taking him out as well.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think this is a long inning. I think you save him now because now you start looking at future games. He's been successful against them. I agree with you, Tino. I think you take him out.
Or give him one hitter. Make sure the bullpen's ready to go, but give him a hitter at least.
Yeah. Yeah, now you look at game 3, 4, where can you bring him back? Where would his bullpen be? So, his normal bullpen day, you go game 2, day of rest, game 3, his bullpen day would probably be on game 3 because they have, Thursday off. So maybe
you bring him back game 4? Bring him back game 4?
Possibly. Or game 3, right? I mean, I don't think it's that pressing, but how does tomorrow go? I mean, that's what it all comes down to. What does tomorrow look like? Yeah, I would also throw my bullpen on that 3rd day, which would be Friday. So
yeah, it's a whole different managerial game now as compared to the last series where it was 7 straight days.
Right.
Here you got days now you go back and pick your spots.
Swish, you talked about this being a long inning, and we've been sitting here for I don't know how long. I'll tell you how long. It's been since you said, this game's flying by.
You know why? Because I want to spend some time with my buddies, bro.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you was coming?
Hey, Ben. He's not going to bed until 2 in the morning anyway.
Yeah, bro, it don't matter. I'm up anyways, bro. I got my 2nd double cheeseburger right here, bro.
His wife's in bed. He's got nobody to talk to. He wants to keep talking.
You bring Amazon 1 to West Palm Beach?
That's it, bro. That's it. I'm driving down to Jupiter, bro. I'm coming. I'll be down in a minute, bro. I'll be down in a minute.
I'll bring Justin over. We'll all be here.
Yeah, it is, man. You're right. I mean, I feel like right now there's got to be one of those big innings, right? I mean, the Dodgers have had a few of those, this postseason, but they haven't had a whole lot of big innings. So for them, it just kind of seems like when they do strike, they strike hard, right? I've been watching Cobra Kai, right?
Did he just get that?
Hard, you know what I mean?
He pimped it, I'll tell you that.
I did too. I thought so too.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I'll tell you, it feels like, if it's sort of 6-1 ball game, with the Rays bullpen, it's different. But it almost feels like with the Rays offense that they got a lot of work to do here. And I don't know if they have the firepower, they're going to have to string some things together. And we'll see what Kershaw can do here because this is a huge inning for him after getting some runs.
Yeah. Kershaw or EK Karras talked about it earlier. It's the Dodgers bullpen going against the Rays offense, not the Braves offense. The Rays offense, right? It seems like the Rays are kind of set up I think the Rays had the best one-run record this year in baseball, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're set up for that tight game. When things can kind of go, get a little bit spread out, that's when they get in trouble, right? They're not the Golden State Warriors. They can't sit back and score 5 and 6 runs an inning. That's not their makeup. Their makeup is, a run here, a run there. Next thing you know, we got 4 runs on the day. It's rare that you're going to see the Tampa Bay Rays explode for a 5, 6, 7 run inning.
All right. They're the right pitch to keep it close, the game close, and the matchups keep it close. But I mean, you never know. It's the World Series. The guys got to come out of the bullpen and pitch their games and stuff, and anything can happen.
Like you said, their game is keeping it close, and they're 36-1 when leading after 6 innings. They're 33-0 when leading after 7, 63 straight, and they're 40-0 when leading after 8.
Yeah, they try to shorten the game, but that's when you look at the 7-game series. I remember I told you, I was mentioning I was on the fence. When you look, but one thing the Dodgers are good at is lengthening the game. They never give up. They've been grinding out at bats. They keep finding a way to get it done. And just for me, watching how the back 3 of the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen looked a little bit more tired against the Astros. The Astros are a really hitting team. We know that. It seemed like they were vulnerable with the Dodgers' depth because it doesn't stop.
Well, we were talking a little bit ago about if Clayton Kershaw was going to go back out for the 6th inning. It looks like he's going back out there, and it looks like he's going to be there for a minute, bro. Still no action in the Dodgers bullpen, right? I mean, I think how many pitches is he around? And I can tell you, if he starts inching up there towards that 100-pitch mark, Dave Roberts got to be a little careful with it.
I think he's in the 70s, though.
I think he's around 70. I think he's like right at 70.
He's a lot of room to work with now, though. He can afford to, get hits here and there and fight through it.
So, Tino, if you're the manager, right, would you obviously, I think you said you'd let him go back out there. Would you let him go back out there to earn his respect, keep his respect, right? And what leash do you give him? Is there a run him out where you say bases are on, put people on where you take him out? What do you do?
I'd go hitter by hitter right now. I mean, it's the 6th inning here. The respect's already there. He's got the win if he wants to win. But to really, save your bullpen throughout the series here, if he can get to this inning, it'd be huge. But if he walks the guy, if you double, I give him 2 or 3 hitters maybe, see what happens there. But I wouldn't give him a long leash here to make his pitch count go up too high before it gets out of hand. But I think he's going to be fine because, like you said, the Rays aren't going to hit, have a big run, big inning with 7 or 8 runs. They're going to just pick away. So he's again, he's feeling pretty good. He's got a lead. He's comfortable. He's in the groove and. See how he's
well, also too, man. Tino, bro, when you're down 6-1, you're not going up there hacking at the first pitch.
Yeah, no,
right?
no.
Like you're going to let him kind of see if he's going to throw strike 1, and 9 times out of 10 in a moment like this, he's going to be able to do that, right? I mean, he's been doing this for feels like a bunch of years. Yeah. He knows what he's got to do. He knows these guys are going to be taking. That's why right now, man, he is in absolutely pound the zone mode right now because, hey, man, if I'm Clayton Kershaw, bro, I'm thinking complete game. I'm only, 72 pitches in the game right now, and I'm in the 6th inning? Baby, I'm going the distance, brother. Give me 105 pitches, bro. I might have this thing in the bag,
I'll tell you, those 4 runs they just scored, though, eased Dave Roberts' brain quite a bit there.
100%.
100%, man. Because right now, like Tino said, you don't want to give him too long of a leash, but he can't do anything that, that bad right now. I mean, you can definitely get somebody warmed up, with trouble.
If he can finish this 6th inning.
Oh, JT. Do it, JT. Get that beard dirty, bro. Let's go.
If he finishes this inning within 15 pitches, he pitches the 7th inning.
Oh, yeah.
Right back in the same situation. See what happens 7th inning.
Oh, yeah.
What a play.
Just me, or has just defense just gotten better? I just feel like guys are so much better. The Rays are phenomenal.
The Rays are good. The Braves were good in it. The Astros were good in it. The Astros played very good D.
That's a huge play. It's a 6-1 ball game, but he gets on base. You got the 2-hole hitter coming up, and then you got Rice Aroni coming up. Like, things are about to get serious in here.
Yeah.
Some cheese to that macaroni, man. You better be careful. Don't get in there.
Yeah, but I mean, right now it's like, you're looking at what the Rays got to do, right? Like this is being in a hole. And right now, Brandon Lau, he hasn't exactly been on point this postseason either, right?
No, he's not.
The fact that he's up here in the 2-hole is surprising to me, right? Like, I mean, I feel like you got to put somebody else up in there, right? To at least, because I used to hit in that 2-hole, bro. If you're having a bad game, oh, bro, 5 at-bats can jump on you quick from that spot up there, you know? Move him down in the lineup. He hit a home run the other day, really kind of got himself going. Put him down in the lineup. Take a little pressure off of him and put somebody else up there. A Rosarina has been on fire, right? Even put somebody like a Willie Adames, somebody that handles the bat a little better, that could put the ball in play. Because right now, I think with where Lau is right now, he needs to make an adjustment.
Yeah. He's feeling for the ball. You know, he's in that situation where he's struggling, he's like feeling for it and not just staying back and driving the ball. You're like just hoping it's a strike and swinging at it as opposed to like seeing it and swinging at it.
Oh, yeah.
The tweet just popped up that said Justin Turner is underrated on defense. I think that's a great point. All we talk about with him is his offense, and rightfully so, the guy rakes. But, I mean, that's a big play over there, and he does make a lot of plays like that, and I think that's true. I do think he's a little underrated on the defensive side of the ball.
Because let's talk about how Clayton Kershaw's 78 pitches through the 6th inning, bro. 78 pitches through the 6th, bro.
He's going back out.
He's going back out for the 7th and the 8th.
For sure.
You watch. He might even put this thing in the 9th, bro.
Well, now you're talking about really saving your bullpen for the long run.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is huge for them.
I'm trying to think. Because
and saving him for his next start, too, by the amount of pitches.
Listen, this is the worst thing that could have happened for Tampa Bay, right? You wanted to get to Kershaw early. You knew that. You wanted to get into their pen and disrupt what they would be able to do tomorrow. You know, in a game plan situation, you didn't want this to go this way, but we all know baseball's baseball, and we'll see what happens. But
well, I tell you what, man, it don't get no easier for the Rays. And you got Walker Buehler tomorrow. Gee, man, that ain't it, bro. Tight pants coming to get you, dog. You know what I'm saying? He coming.
we're going to get some snacks.
Oh, yeah, bro. Hey, I got some French fries over here, bro. You want some fries?
Yeah, give me some of those fries.
Just check them back out.
I got extra bag of them here for you, too, right here, bro.
I need them.
A little greasy, bro. A little greasy.
I need them. That's how you know it's Five Guys, though, when you see that brown bag with the grease coming out the bottom.
I know, man. I know. Yeah, this has been good, man. By the way, I love being able to have our guests on. I think that's great, man. You know, we have Eric Karros, who gave such good insight on the Dodgers and the lineup and the breakdown of everything that they're doing. And also, too, bringing in Jake Odorizzi. I know he doesn't play for the Rays anymore, but I think for me, the most interesting thing that he was talking about was the Rays' philosophy and how all those young guys, they explain to them why they're having success or why they're not having success. I think that's the biggest thing you could do for a pitcher or a position player nowadays is to have that communication, to tell them, like, hey, these are the things that we can work on. These are the things you're good at, right? Because in the game of baseball, man, I mean, it's a game of inches. Like now with all the, the edgetronics and the slow motion stuff, like it's showing players the difference between real and feel, right? The difference of what you feel you're doing compared to exactly what you are doing in real time. So I think that's absolutely awesome.
I feel like it makes a big difference, especially for a younger guy. You know, you may be having success, but to be able to say, this is why you're having that success, makes a huge difference for them because then they can build on that and keep doing it. So I think, especially with what he said, to be able to see the numbers behind it and why it's working, I think that would really help young guys.
Yeah, big time, man. I think, one of the cool parts about, our game right now, in my opinion, is you don't necessarily have to have played the game to be able to affect the game in the positive way, right? You don't have to be a big leaguer to be a coach anymore, right? You feel like you can definitely help in all aspects from weight training to the psychological side to the numbers side, the analytics side, like all of that. So I think there's just so much awesome stuff, man, that's going on in the game of baseball right now. I just think it's awesome. It's great.
Swish, we're going to throw your top 5 up. Walk us through here. Oh, we can just hit that ball out? Wow.
Oh, man, look at it, bro. I told you, bro. The lights are bright, bro. Mookie feeling good. Let's go. Let's go, bro.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Hey, forget that. Forget that 5 postseason.
Top five, no mind.
Let's talk about Mookie. Let's talk about that fly Jays. He got looking good. Number 50, bro. He looks the same every day. Comes to the ballpark, wants to win. Oh, man. And Mookie went deep, bro. Mookie went deep. Oppo Popo, bro.
Dude,
Oppo.
that guy, he's too good.
He's too good, right?
He
It's
is.
just kind of
The
one of those
entire
things.
series,
It's
this whole series, I mean, the whole season is incredible.
Bro, you win one World Series with this guy because I think you have the ability to win more. But if you win one World Series with that guy, his contract pays for itself.
Yep.
You know, right now with everything that LeBron did and bringing all that good karma over there to L.A., just won his 4th. Yo, shoot, Mookie could be right here on the doorstep of what? This will be his 2nd, right? His 2nd World Series if they win it.
Yeah.
You know, as good as Mookie's playing, every team should get to be able to have him for 1 year right now. Like,
By the way, hey, how about this? David Price opted out this year too. Could you imagine if he was? Can you believe
Is he
that?
kicking himself right now? Is he happy about it, or is he like, man, dang, I should have?
I was gonna say, man, does he get a ring? Does he get a ring if they win?
I'd say no.
I would say no too. I'd be like, Blair, you weren't even here.
See, I was wondering the same thing earlier today, Rick, because he posted a picture about the Dodgers starting the World Series and said, good luck. It made me wonder, like, 1, is he regretting opting out? And 2, does he get a ring?
He gets a ring because he's on the roster, right?
What? Come on, bro.
Look, we know this. Listen, you got paid if you opted out this year. Look, we call it stealing money. You guys know that. So we talked about the Detroit Tigers and the Cardinals in the World Series. Listen, I got a full paycheck, but I blew out my knee in spring training. I was on the roster. I wanted to be there. It's a little bit different, but as you know, when you're on the roster, you get a ring and a paycheck.
Right. Yeah, but you didn't choose not to be in that locker room.
Right.
It's true,
You didn't
but
choose not to be there, right? You know, it's
True.
funny. I follow. You know, another guy that I follow on Instagram.
Here, there's like different circumstances, right? Because you could choose not. Am I wrong? Well, tell me. Because you could choose not to be there and you still got paid, correct?
It depends.
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't think guys got paid if you opted out.
If you present a medical reason for why you opted out, then you would get paid. But if you just opted out on your own, they're fine with it, but it doesn't mean you're not getting paid. And the Dodgers are just banging balls all around the yard right now.
By the way, this is getting ugly, bro. They're opening it up. Like, this is like you said, Rick, this is the worst thing could happen to Tampa Bay Rays. Their bullpen is going to get destroyed. They're already tired. Somebody is going to have to stay out here and take it on the chin. And it might be Fleming, this dude that's in the ballgame right now, because they don't want to go out there and waste any of their good guys on a guaranteed game 1 loss. That's the last thing that you're doing. So one thing that I'm thinking right now is like, man, Clayton Kershaw, bro, you looking good right now, bro. You looking real good. Keep it going.
It's a long series. It's a long series. The thing with the postseason is you have, as we all know, you have to be able to put one game behind you. This game's still not over. If you lose 10-0 or 1-0, it's one game and out the door. You got to move on next game and try to win the next game. Period.
Yeah, but still, it's one game, but you have to use a bunch of your pitchers.
Right, but still, I mean, mindset though wise, going back to the hotel tonight, you got to think about, hey, that's over with. That was like yesterday. That was a week ago. You got to win tomorrow. If you win tomorrow, it's 1-1 no matter what happens. But again, going back to Mookie Betts here, I've never thought a guy was worth $300, $400 million. They really never made a difference in a guy winning the World Series, a team winning the World Series or not. I never thought that. But this year, this guy playing, he's made such a huge impact on the Dodgers, which already had a good team. He made them a great team. And if they do win the World Series, it's because of the addition of him. And the money well spent you talk about, and probably more years to come with that kind of stuff. That's I mean, and Dodger Stadium would have been sold out, packed houses, and I mean the dollar bill coming in.
Can you imagine him doing this in LA right now? Like how crazy it would be going to be.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah, you know, you guys, we talked about it a little bit, but it's an 8-1 ball game. If the Rays are gonna lose, this is the way to lose. You know, like, yeah, you have to use some arms, but there's going to be somebody that just wears these innings, and whether it be Fleming or you're not bringing in your guys. So if you are the Rays, you'd much rather lose a game 8-10-1. And look, Kershaw's now done. I think, as you know, he's hugging guys in the dugout. Kershaw's done. But if you're gonna lose, you'd rather it be like this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I understand what you're saying, because I think you're just kind of like saying, okay, you've scored enough to where we've won, but also I think you're getting exposed to the fact that your defense and your pitching isn't above our offense. And that's the only thing I guess I would argue, and I understand that it's not their guys that they're putting in, but the Dodgers coming out here and doing this in game 1 is kind of like, well, we're proving how deep we are and what we can do to you.
Yeah.
In a way. But
yeah, I mean, but and you said you understand this point, but most of this damage has been done off of glass now, and then you're not bringing in your guys, so I feel like the Rays are sitting there saying, okay, yeah, I mean, we got roughed around a little bit, but we didn't use a single one of our guys out of the pen. We still got those guys. If we can get to the 6th inning, the 5th inning of a game down 2-1, it's our ball game, because we're not going to give up another run the rest of the game, right. And we feel confident in scoring 2 more runs,
Yeah, I mean, they can use a few guys here and there now if they want, and bring a guy in who hasn't worked. They have the day off. What day is this? Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday day off. They have that to work with as well. They can really pick and choose and get guys in the innings they want. Some guys can just get in there and pitch and get their feet wet a little bit, get some guys pinch hit appearances and get them in the game as well. It's a good time to do all that. Not right now in the 6th, maybe in the 7th or 8th, but it's just again. I played the '96 World Series, and the Braves came in hot, and the Braves blew us out in games 1 and 2 in Yankee Stadium. I mean, like 10-2 and like 8-1, 2 games in a row. It was like, blowouts. We had day off. We went to Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium, the old stadium there, and we won 3, 4, and 5. That's the way the postseason works. So I don't care who your pitching is, how deep you are. They had Hall of Fame pitching staff all up and down. We were an up-and-coming young team, and at that time, so you don't know. It's just postseason, so anything can happen. And we didn't have any experience. Like, we weren't like an experienced postseason team at all.
Well, Kershaw is done. What an outing for that guy! I mean,
that was amazing, bro. Like it says right there in social media feed, Kershaw just showed everyone that he is good no matter what the month, hands down, no doubt. This is exactly what he needed. I think that if we wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to see Clayton Kershaw one more time when the Dodgers would have lost in the NLCS, I think everything would have stayed the same. But for him to get another opportunity, to take this, to seize the moment, to go out there, 6 innings, bro, 8 or 9 punchies. I mean, for him to go out there and do what he did right there, that's exactly what the Dodgers needed moving forward. Confidence factor through the roof. If the Rays don't turn things around real quick, and I know you say tomorrow's a different game, Tino, but right now, man, I think all of this momentum just keeps moving itself forward. This could be a real quick series if the Rays can't turn it around.
How fast the narrative changes, right? Like, all of a sudden, did Roberts make the right call and take a May out so fast? How fast it changes right now where he kept Kershaw in, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second. Now Dave Roberts is a genius, and here we go. Like,
yeah, exactly, totally.
I'm telling you, again, right now, let's just say if they win this game tonight and they're going to go back to L.A. on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, whatever it is, they're still in Arlington, Texas. There's no really like a big boost for them. It's just another game, another kind of a neutral crowd besides your family members, and it's still long. I'm telling you, it's a long way to go here.
6 innings pitched, 8 Ks, 2 hits for Kershaw.
What a start, bro. Absolutely needed it. I think Dodger Blue definitely pumping him up. And you're like you're saying, man, the narrative changes so quickly. And this is a huge step in the right direction for Clayton Kershaw, because this is the stuff that he does in the regular season. He's just doing it on the biggest stage right now, which we know he could, and we know we've seen him do it. But it's nice to see him doing this. Game 1 of the World Series, right? And by the way, he's not even their ace in that rotation. If you think about it, Walker Buehler's the ace.
Us players know that he's that good. The media and the postseason gives a little bit of a deter his postseason stuff, whatever. But he is that good. We all know that. Yeah. I mean, he's proven that tonight. He can probably prove it again 4 days from now when he pitches again. I've never doubted he was that good. I didn't care what he did in the postseason. I mean, he carried them to the postseason for years, and the hitting has to hit. It's a lot goes into the postseason wins, and it wasn't just Clayton Kershaw getting hit; it was the entire team, not performing well.
Agreed. And I think when we just talked about David Price, we can bring him into that same conversation, right? He had a lot of issues with not performing in the playoffs, and I remember talking to Max Scherzer about it, and Max was like, "Listen, he's not that guy. I promise you, man. Like, this guy is headstrong. He's fine. He'll be the guy." And then he came out and showed exactly what he could do too, right? So it's just how fast it can change and what can happen. I can say this as a left-handed pitcher. I've always looked up to Clayton Kershaw. Listen, he's one of the best left-handers that's ever been around. So I'm just glad that we could see him perform this way, and happy that Dodgers, honestly, it seems like, we don't know, as you said, Tino, but the Dodgers win this and move on, we can finally say the Dodgers have won their World Series, and off we go.
It's true. I agree. And nobody better to have that than Clayton Kershaw. I'm a fan of his. A fan of his that's saying that I wouldn't say the struggles he's been through, but the uncertainty of his postseason performances over the years and the media on him. He's always a stand-up guy. Stand up, talk to the media, and never just back down and never made excuses. And that's how good he is. We all know that.
Yeah. And another guy that everyone in that locker room would run through a wall for. Right?
Exactly.
Like, he is that leader. He is that veteran leader in that locker room. And Tino, you've been able to win some World Series, myself as well. If you don't have those veterans in that locker room, kind of keeping everybody at ease or kind of letting everybody know that everything's going to be all right, then it's hard because young guys don't know how to act to certain things like that. I know this is a little different year with no fans in the stands and a lot of less adversity, but still, if you don't have those locker room guys, then you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, I gotta believe. I'm not in the Dodgers locker room, but I gotta believe he is the man in there, and they all look like him.
Yep.
And he handles it well.
I've heard good things about Mookie's leadership, right? That's what I've heard. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but I heard since he's got to LA, the leadership qualities have just magnified. Just because you guys have you've been traded, you know what it is to go to an organization and you feel like you're the veteran and people respect you. It's just a different atmosphere, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things.
I mean, I don't know what Mookie says in the locker room or says or not says, but all those players have to do. The young guys watch him on the field every day, how he goes about it, defense, offense. I mean, running and in the dugout, never pouting. I mean, he's awesome, man. And you, that guy is the guy you look up to and go like, I want to be like that guy when I get a veteran.
Yeah.
Swish, this is a Swish, you had your Postmates canceled on you. This is the beauty of being in studio. I just got food delivered to me.
There you go, bro. I know.
What'd you get?
Some pizza.
That's what Tino was eating earlier, bro.
Let's do this.
That was Constantino.
Let's see it. What kind of pizza?
You're 3 hours behind me, though. I'm getting too late for pizza now.
Where's this from? This is Domino's.
Good fellas.
Well, that's it, man. I mean, come on, man. Kershaw, bro. 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 walk. Only 1 walk, 8 punches. Right? He was pounding the zone. He was utilizing that cutter. And by the way, he's one of those guys. He's not a high-velocity guy. He's a pitcher. And it just goes to show you that pitchers can still play. No doubt about it.
The only disappointing part to me, him starting this game, is that there's just a DH for everyone right now. I know we're kind of in the American League Park, but he might have been deep tonight too. If we were in,
Rick, ain't nobody want to see a pitcher come up with the bases loaded, bro. Come on.
Hey,
I do.
But you're a hitter, bro. You're a hitter.
This is Rick Ankiel.
Yeah, no doubt. That's not even fair.
The only one who don't want to see the pitcher hit. All the pitchers want to hit.
So Rick didn't become a hitter when he became a position player. He hit when he was a pitcher as well.
I know. He was taking BP every day and stuff for sure.
All right, let me ask you guys. Are you excited to see just a DH if it moves into both leagues?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Expanded rosters, yes. Or expanded playoffs, yes. By the way, this year when I looked at the playoffs, it looked like a March Madness bracket. I was like, oh, bro, how much we putting on these games, bro? You know what I mean? Because it was just like the excitement of having a bracket in baseball. You don't ever usually see that. Yeah. And at least for myself, when I first found out we were going to have, the expanded playoffs, my first thought was, man, Mike Trout's going to make it to the playoffs finally, bro. He's going to make it back. He's going to make it back. Yeah, right, bro. And they got Joe Madden, bro. They had in my mind, one of the best teams on paper to start the season, but just couldn't put it together. But a team like the San Diego Padres did, right? So I think it's great. Bring the best players to the playoffs. Let everybody get a chance to watch them. I love the expanded playoffs.
So you're saying in a 162-game season, you want half the league still making the playoffs, or when you want it expanded, just not quite to 16 teams again?
I'm cool with 16 teams. I'm fine with that. I really enjoyed the wild card round. I thought that was great.
I am too. I like the format of it was fantastic. For example, in the first round, the team, the wild card team has to play the 3 games at
their stadium, right?
Yep. Stadium, yeah. I like that whole thing. It's great. And the thing is, we saw so many great players come out this year in the season that we never thought we'd see before. I mean, there's so many great players out there, young players that are really changing the game. That I enjoyed watching teams I've never watched play before. It is so good and so. The talent's so amazing.
Yeah. One thing I loved was no off days. I know it's a little different with not traveling back to your home city.
I did too.
The everyday game as a fan or a spectator now, or a broadcaster, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play tomorrow.
Listen, you got a man, now you got a man for pitching and stuff. It's a whole different game. I like that.
I had something to look forward to. No question.
That team will win.
Yep. Well, did you see that play right there with Bellinger, right? It's the right shoulder that was popped out and popped back in, right? If I'm not mistaken. Look how gingerly he was going up against that ball on the wall. He knew it was there.
Good call.
Okay, let's watch his first swing next at bat.
Somebody will pop it in, he's fine. He's done it before.
Was there any rules that you didn't like? Whether it was the guy on second base with extra innings, like was there any rules that the changes this year brought about that you guys did not like, or were there any rules that you didn't see that you would have liked?
I 100% like the postseason expanded. I love that very much. The guy on second base, I thought this year they had to do that. You had to save pitching. You can't go you can't have the 18 inning game. You can't go that route in this type of year. There's no days off here and there. But I did like that for at a certain point, but not. I guess over the course of the season you can't do that because it just skewers the whole stats and what pitchers do and how you manage the game and all that stuff. But I do like. It's probably not going to happen. I do like the 7-inning doubleheaders.
Love it, bro. Love 7-inning doubleheaders. Love it.
Love that.
Because then it's not as big of a task to have a doubleheader. You know what I mean? You feel like
now you're not afraid of the day night on rainouts. They're so quick, and you don't waste so many pitchers, and the game is not so taxing on you. It really is not. At 2 innings, it's amazing that people out there don't understand that two extra innings is like a long time throughout the course of the year. And the 7-inning games, the doubleheaders were to me were like. I hope that continues.
Yep.
What about that's what I'm missing. What about the 3 batter minimum right now? How'd you feel about that?
Nick, you answer that?
I mean, sure,
I like it.
I love it. Right?
I like
it speeds the game up, right? Like
I'm
not playing the game anymore, so I want to watch it, bro. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, I completely get that. The mound visits, the whole 9. Like I love taking away that. I even like it this year how the players can't go back up into the locker room, right? I love
no TVs, nothing. Yeah, I like that too. The thing is with the 3, I like that a lot because the fans there too. The fans, the game speeds up a little bit, but you get so tired of the guy coming out there getting 1 out. Then you got to go out there and take him out. The guy's got to warm up again. He gets an out. 2, now the third guy comes in the same minute. You get the next third guy out. It takes forever, and it's annoying. I mean, I think if a left-handed pitcher's out there getting somebody out, if he's a professional guy, he should be able to get the other guys out too.
So my thought on that rule, and I like it personally, but a thought I had watching games throughout the year was on the offensive side, if they bring in a lefty and I'm on offense, I'm allowed to pinch hit and bring in a righty. Now that almost seems unfair in a way. Like I get it for pace of play, but if they're going to bring in a lefty out of the pen, he has to face 3 batters. They're going to try and match up. Okay, maybe there's 2 lefties. They can pinch hit for a righty, and there's nothing they can do with that pitcher. That pitcher then has to face the guy that I was able to make a move for him for.
Well, like Tino said earlier, man, it's a hitter's game. There's no doubt about that, right?
Yep.
The advantage are to the hitters. But I think here, you think about this, man, like the fastball velocity is only continuing to keep climbing, right? At some point, they might have to move that mound back a touch, right? Just because, like, the fact that these dudes are throwing so hard. But I just, there's some numbers I want to give on Clayton Kershaw real quick. Now we're talking about pitching. Because we're talking about kind of like, the new narrative of Clayton Kershaw. Bro, this 2020 postseason, bro, he's got a 2.88 ERA with 31 punchies and only 3 walks. Yeah. That's it.
Amazing.
Right? So that's that thing, right? So just like the tweet said earlier, right? Like Clayton Kershaw is good any month. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, he's running some bad innings in his postseason career, but for him to go out and shove the way that he did tonight, bro, I mean, for me, man, the way he pitched in the regular season was phenomenal. And I only expected him to continue to keep doing it this postseason. And so far, man, he got those days off for the back spasms, and it looks like he's fresher than ever right now.
But again, maybe he's a 200-inning guy. He pitches 200 innings every year. So maybe the 60 games, he's still a lot fresher than he was in the past. Which
Great
is
point.
Great.
Yep.
I mean, it's good for him as well. But Ben, going back to your point, if a lefty brings in a lefty to face a left-handed hitter, it's usually the big left-handed hitter they're not going to pinch hit for. It's the guy you want to get out. Now the guy you got to worry about the next two guys might be right-handed, but that guy you're coming in for is not like the ninth guy that's just going to slap the ball around. It's to get the key guy out, and then now good luck getting the next two righties out.
Right.
But again, going back to Kershaw, I mean he's probably fresher. I mean he's experienced too, though. He's not he's attacking the zone. But I had a terrible postseason my first time in '96. Then the more you get into the postseason, you start realizing, hey, it's just a game. Focus on the pitcher, the hitter, and you minimize things. You take the distractions away from yourself.
Well, we got Brasso is up right now, and I think we need to talk a little bit about him and what he was able to do this year, right? I mean, you remember watching the game just like I saw when Chapman threw that 100-mile-an-hour fastball right at him. Wow. Hey, bro. And the fact that he got out of the way. I mean, there was a little skirmish between the Rays and the Yankees, but then all of a sudden he comes back the next day and hit 2 home runs, bro. I think he hit 4 on the year. This dude popped 2 the very next day. So what I learned is don't piss Brasso off, dude, at all, man, because he's coming back fueled up.
No bigger statement you can make as a hitter than that, right? You threw one over my head with what I shouldn't be able to get out of the way, and next day I come back and just execute. And for him, come on.
Game 5 to face Chapman, the tie game in the postseason, the winner goes home and hits a bomb.
And he clipped him.
Hey, no champ.
Man.
Okay, I was a big fan of that. And I felt bad for Chapman, but that was pretty incredible.
Yep, that's definitely.
All right, so one rule I've seen proposed that didn't happen, which I'm a fan of, and I feel like the more people that I talk to this about, they're not. But I know they proposed stealing first base, which when I watch the game now, and listen, I went through the throwing issues and I threw balls all over the place. That's different than just not throwing a strike. But one thing that was proposed was if a pitcher at any time throws a wild pitch and you're up to bat, you think you can make it to first, you can drop the bat and try to go to first. If the catcher can get the ball and throw you out in time, you're out. If you get there, you're safe. I just think it would change the game a little bit more and make guys start pitching. I don't know. I'm a fan of it. We didn't see it yet, but I'd love to see that part of the game.
I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it too.
Why?
Because it's not baseball. It's not baseball.
Is it not?
If I'm hitting, I want to hit. I don't want to walk.
Nobody says you have to run. It's if you want to.
Yeah, but nobody want to run, I'd hope. I mean, most guys want to hit.
Hey,
the Rays are doing something here.
What's that?
The Rays are doing something here.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, sure. Yeah, just getting going. There's a run. They scored a run. Here's the reason why I definitely think that rule is I like it and I don't like it. I like it because you'll bring different types of players into the batter's box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Gore, I'm thinking, like a guy that's solely a base stealer, like Billy Hamilton, somebody like that, right? All of a sudden he has value, right? He has value in the batter's box. Somebody like Nick Swisher, bro, I'm not running at all, bro. That's just going to be embarrassing. Me running down the line, getting thrown out by 30 feet. They'd be like, bro, why are you running? Just hit. You know what I mean? So for somebody like me that didn't have speed, I might not like it as much. But for somebody that does have speed, they might like that a lot.
So one reason I like it, I'll tell you, is that the game, like we keep looking at pitchers and we talk about speeding up the game, but when everybody comes in trying to throw 200 miles an hour, it's a 3-2 count every single time. It gets old, right? You ain't going to fire back and just do that all the time or just spin balls in the dirt 50 foot and there's nowhere close. You're going to have to try to pitch because you're like, you know what, if I just let this go and it goes that way, then the catcher becomes more valuable.
Big time, bro.
It used to be. Right? So I just, for me, there's a lot of different angles to it. It's not just that. It's the way it brings the game back to having skill sets of different areas, not just, let me go hit a homer and that's it. But anyway, so
Rick, you're telling me if you're in the box, you're up there in the left-handed batter's box and the pitcher bounces a curveball and it bounces 20 feet away, you're going to think, and that's ball 3, you're going to think, let me drop my bat and run to first. You're going to look like a loser running down the line.
I don't think so, bud. I've been 0 for 10 many times.
0 for 28, bro.
If I'm not 0 for 5 streak, I'm gone to first base.
But it's not a hit.
Hey, don't forget.
It's not a hit, right?
No, it's not a hit.
Count is on base percentage.
Yes, no doubt. OBP, bro. Because people only care about OPS now.
No,
bro.
it's a walk. What does it count as? If you run out there.
I don't think they got that far. I'll take my on base percentage being as you know, when you go to arbitration, what's your on-base percentage? What's your strikeout? That's a big deal.
How many times
500?
you get first base on a wild pitch that you ran first?
Hey,
All right, bro. Well, hey,
I might have started hitting a lot sooner if guys could have ran the first when I threw a wild pitch, and I'd probably have more money in the account. I'm just saying.
well, fellas, we got somebody else showing up to the crib, bro. Here he is. We got to bring him in. This is my man, Cody Decker, the anti-hero baseball, bro. One of my favorite human beings on the planet, bro. Him and his wife, Jen Sturger, they have a podcast called Swings and Misses. It's amazing. Cody is an unbelievable guy. By the way, when we first met, we used to hit back in at UCLA, right? And then I found out that he have a trivia night every week. This guy's amazing. He's done so many things, in a whole bunch of minor league home runs. Finally got his shot in the big leagues with the San Diego Padres. So, Cody, bro, welcome in, homie. We are so happy to have you, brother. How you holding up, brother?
Oh, man, I'm sitting here living this wonderful 2020 Twilight Zone version of the dream, but I got World Series baseball on right now, and I got Nick Swisher in front of my face, eating a salad, pretending he's not a fat kid. What are you doing?
Let him go.
2 double cheeseburgers, bro, and a bag of fries, player. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
about to say, you're a liar. You're a liar. I remember one time your wife was pregnant. You showed up to the field one day, and I hadn't seen you all season. It was the first time in the offseason you showed up, and your wife was pregnant. And you're coming in, you don't look your best. But you come in, and I'm just like, hey, Swish, what's going on, man? He's like, oh, it's great. Deck, it's great, man. I've got to tell you, dude, the wife's pregnant. She's put on 8 pounds. I put on 15.
I'm a team guy, Cody. I'm a team guy.
And I love that about you.
You know, you'll see it. Tino, tell him, bro. Hey, that pregnancy weight is for real. The drama is real.
That is for real.
Oh, I get it. I know why he was hiding the burger. Ankiel's here looking jacked as hell, so I get it.
You got Ricky in the building, bro.
Yeah, I get it.
How you doing, bud?
Well, me? Oh, I'm good.
I will say, so you signed on. You've got the best setup yet. Like, you look the most comfortable out of anybody we've had on, including us. Like, you look.
It's like I'm a pro, bro. Hey, man, you spent enough years in 3A and being told what a scrub you are. You got to do something and bring something to the table, because if I just showed up with my resume, no one's going to listen to a single word that I have to say. I got to put expensive tequila over here. I got to have the expensive whiskey over here. And I just got to bring the heat with, just jacked to the gills.
That's it, bro.
You are well done. Well played.
Thank you.
That's it, man. Hey, so Cody, what do you think about this 2020 season, bro? Like we were just talking about, there's a lot of different rules that have been kind of in place. Only the 60-game season, expanded playoffs, right? Like runner on second base, extra innings. What do you think about this year?
There are rules I love, and there are rules I absolutely hate. I'm actually going to disagree with you, Swish. I heard you right before I came on talking about the 16-game playoffs. Now, I love the setup of the playoffs, but I think it should be moved down to maybe one less team or 2 less teams, and one less team in each division personally, because I love the 3-game playoff for the wild card round, but a team who wins the best record in each league, I think they deserve a bye. And I don't like the idea, even though we have the 2 best teams in the major leagues right now playing in the World Series, that's kind of a rarity at this point. I don't like the ideas that the Dodgers could be eliminated in a 3-game playoff against the Brewers, who really shouldn't have been there.
Great point.
To a point. What do you got, T? You got anything for Cody?
No, what I didn't like was the 1-game play-in game. I hated that. I thought it was unfair totally. That's why I want the expanded playoffs as well, because you have 2 teams that make the playoffs that year, whoever it may be. It's a 1-game playoff, in somebody else's stadium. The other team's fan base is so fired up because they made the playoffs, and they may not get a home game at all. At all. So I like the 3-game series period to make it fair for a better team to win that wild card section of the game of the playoffs, and I didn't like that 1-game play at all.
I totally agree with you. Although I will say, I've always been the guy saying, oh man, the 1-game playoff, I don't dig it. But I can't remember a single All-Star game that was a 1-game playoff that wasn't the best game of the year.
It's true. Good point.
Yeah, every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, what are your thoughts on this series coming into tonight? Who did you have and why?
I have the Dodgers in 6, and here's why. Although tonight, I honestly thought the Rays were going to take tonight's game. I thought Glasnow was going to sit a little bit more in the zone. The Dodgers are not exactly known for chasing, even though there are plenty of free swingers over there. Once they started not chasing Glasnow out of the zone, I knew it was not going to be the prettiest game for him. Then it got to that 5th inning, and you saw what happened. I was surprised Cash left them out there for 112 pitches, especially on the short leash you put Snell in. You gotta. It seemed like an odd choice because you have a little bit more of a rested bullpen than the Dodgers do right now.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I think, Kevin Cash has kind of every button he's pushed this postseason seemed to have worked, right? Even when we took Snell out early. But, it just kind of seems like right now with where the Dodgers offense is, and we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, right? The adversity that they've had to go through, right? The last 3 games, right? Being down 3-1, fighting through that, the momentum is crucial, and it's definitely on the Dodgers side right now.
I completely agree. I think it's way on the Dodgers side right now, including the fact that only the 1 day off. I even had an argument on the show a little bit today because whether or not the Dodgers have a home field advantage, because they have played 10 games at this stadium and the Rays have never even seen it. A couple of weird cutouts over there. Center field's got a couple of interesting little diagonal lines to it. Not to mention, there's been some interesting wind, and they're not closing that roof for this series. So I think the Dodgers do have a little bit of a home field advantage, but you look at that lineup. They have a home field advantage. They're playing San Francisco right now. That thing is a video game team.
Yeah, man, I didn't even think about that. The fact that they've played so many games in that ballpark, and the Rays bubble was over in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
They were playing, all of their. They got to be able to do it 2 bubbles and then a whole different place, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that really is the batter's eye is different, right? The time of day is different. The wind in the ballpark is different. Is it spinning? Is it circling, right? Is it pushing to right or left? That's a good point right there, Cody, for sure.
Cody, one thing you mentioned that made a lot of sense to me is that, when you talk about leaving Glasnow in so long tonight, and they haven't done that with Snell, one thing when I start to look at Snell's, how many innings he's pitched, what situations they leave him into or not to, it almost seems like they definitely don't trust him as much as they trust Glasnow, right? They move Glasnow around. Snell, it seems like they definitely have delicate hands with. It gets into a really tough situation. Tino, you've watched Tampa Bay a lot. Do you see a difference in how they handle each guy? A difference in?
Well, I think, Glasnow obviously he's got electric stuff, fastball, slider. He's got great stuff. I think Snell sometimes is hit or miss. I think he's got a great fastball and curveball, but sometimes it looks like he's out there kind of timid and picking around, not really attacking the zone. And I think that they tried to probably keep Glasnow there tonight longer to save the bullpen more in case Snell gets in trouble tomorrow a little bit, to have to go to them earlier. Because I think Snell has a game where if he comes out there tomorrow and just deals early and really gets confidence, he's going to be really good. But there are times that he can't find the strike zone, he can't get his curveball over, and he gets in trouble way early in the game where they got to pull him out quickly.
Well, what do you think is going to happen, right? We're in the bottom of the 7th inning right now. It seems like the Dodgers are feeling very comfortable where they are, up 8-3 right now. Taylor's 2 for 2. Come back on game 2. We talked about it, right? I think the one thing I really like listening to Karos talking about was the Dodgers are so resilient. And, like you said, they've gone through that stuff. And now to be able to pull up this game 1 win, this is huge. So moving into game 2 with Walker Buehler on the mound, the Dodgers got to feel even more confident, right, Cody?
I think the Dodgers got game 2 at hand. That was the game I was most worried about because, in case you don't know this about Blake Snell, Cy Young Award winner, but he hasn't pitched a game past the 6th inning since July of 2019. And he hasn't even finished the 6th inning this season. Walker Buehler, they will throw him out there until he wants to stop.
Yeah.
Old school. Swish, I thought you brought this up earlier. And I give credit to the Tampa Bay Rays and how they've done things. But I do feel like the way that they've set things up, the way that it's just so, one pitcher, they have no pitchers that goes the distance, right? And then the relievers, they just bring in 2, 3. It's so much. And then as soon as they get vulnerable or exposed, they're out and they bring in the new guy. I almost feel like this was the perfect recipe for them to win. But over 162 games, that's a really tough recipe to keep winning in the big leagues, right? Because you're just using guys over and over and over, and then they get exposed and they're out.
Yeah, well, it's 100%. Well, it's also a good recipe for losing, right? I feel like that's why not all the teams use an opener, right? Because if your opener comes out in the 1st inning and gets hit around, then all of a sudden it's a bullpen game. And then what happens if you bring in the second guy and he gets hit? Now all of a sudden you're like, bro, I'm in the second inning. I've already used 3 pitchers.
You saw that in Game 7.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it.
Yeah, you saw that in Game 7 with the Dodgers with May. You know, he was supposed to be the opener. He was pitching on really short rest. Did not go his way. They brought in the second pitcher, and he got roughed up a little bit early.
Yeah,
Gosling. He got out of there a little early, luckily, and he was able to give 2 innings. But I think they were hoping for 4 out of him. Luckily, the Dodgers lineup is just the Dodgers lineup, and it bailed them out of that situation.
Yeah, they definitely have the lineup can definitely mask a lot of pitching problems for sure. But right now, I mean, it's funny because it's, EK brought it up. It's the Dodgers bullpen against the Tampa Bay Rays, not the Atlanta Braves, right? 2 totally different offenses. And right now, I mean, it just kind of seems like the Dodgers, right now definitely have the upper hand in this series. And this thing could be a short series if they don't turn it around.
Yeah, it almost seems like the Dodgers are in cruise control right now, right? And that's the last thing Tampa wanted to handle.
I think the Dodgers playing the Braves is the worst possible thing that could have happened to the Tampa Bay Rays, because you saw the Dodgers were able to sleepwalk through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then they got to the Braves and they got punched in the mouth. The Tampa Bay Rays is a team that's going to kill you with 1,000 cuts. The problem is the Dodgers can do that too, and they can also put up 7 home runs on you in the same game. Mookie Betts has barely hit this postseason, and he's beaten teams every other way. Because he is it's maddening, by the way, to watch him play baseball.
Oh, bro. Because we're all so jealous. We're like, bro, how could we not be that good, right?
Dude, I was good too, but I wasn't that. What is that? What game are you playing?
Yeah.
Cody, were you watching earlier when Mookie scored from third base? I'm assuming you saw that play.
Awesome.
So how many guys in the big leagues do you think score on that play? Because it wasn't just he's fast enough to get there. You could see his secondary. He was halfway down the line when he made contact, and on contact he was. I mean, I don't think there's 3 other guys that score there.
I got 4, and one is just because I think Ford is that fast. The others I got, man, Byron Buxton I think makes that at home plate, and possibly even Trout if he decided to be on third base, he might have just decided to homer that at bat. Because that's what he does too. Also, a player that's maddening to watch. I just, no one can do that. The guy beats out a single. He steals 2 bags. He scores on a routine ground ball to the first baseman. He robs home runs. He does everything. You want to play second base? Yeah, he'll play second base. Mike, what is this? This is not the same. This is not fair, quite frankly.
Yeah, he's like Bugs Bunny, bro. Like Bugsy just plays everything, right? Everything well, right? He can hit, catch, hit all at the same time.
He doesn't even break a sweat.
Somebody, I won't let you
sweat his body. It's so cool and calm. But again, that score, he scored that play from the first to the ground ball first base here. He beat it by a mile. It wasn't like a close play at all. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even close. He just had a great jump there, a big secondary, and I mean, Yandy Diaz made a great play, got rid of it quickly. It wasn't even close.
And it was a good play at first base. I mean, he got off the bag. He got rid of the ball immediately. He was in, and he still beat it by 5 steps. Swish was out by 30 steps.
Bro, I wasn't even in frame yet. I wasn't even in the frame yet,
Swish just walked to the dugout and called it a day.
We're not going. They're telling us right there, hey, ground ball first, stay right here.
Just stay here, bro. Stay here.
Buddy, what have you thought? Are you a Dodgers fan? You seem like you watch the Dodgers quite a bit. Is that correct?
Talking to me or talking to somebody? I grew up a Dodgers fan. I grew up in Santa Monica, California. I went to UCLA. But then I think this happens to every ball player. I've been getting steady death threats from Padre fans for the last 5 days because I said nice things about the Dodgers. And it's been very interesting because I feel like if you play professionally, as everyone here has, your kind of fandom kind of morphs a little bit. It's more that you get a different perspective. Yeah, I want to see my friends do well, but I'm not necessarily rooting for the Dodgers, although I would like to see Dave Roberts win a World Series because I wish everyone was as nice and awesome as Dave Roberts is.
Right?
The question to this, though, is I want you to tell everyone who doesn't understand is how good of a season Cody Bellinger has had. Unless we can talk about Mookie Betts. When we talk about this season, Cody Bellinger has been out of control.
You know what's funny? You look at his immediate stats, and your first thought is, oh, well, he only hit, Mendoza line type numbers. But No, that is just not the case. You got to look a little deeper in what you're actually seeing. Home runs per at bat, quality at bats, hard contacts. I know I don't want to get too deep in the metrics, but I mean, Cody Bellinger averages, I think, 106, like 1-on-1 off the bat. He's ridiculous.
I almost meant to say I'm sorry, Seager. I was looking at my.
Oh, well, Seager's been off the charts good.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Seager's been off the charts good. I mean, I always kind of thought. No, it's all good. I honestly think Bellinger had a much better year than everybody said. I mean, you get 60 games. That is a short sample size. Really, that's 2 months of the season. I have definitely had plenty of 2 months where I didn't do a thing. And if I was still playing, I would have another 2 months where I did nothing.
Yeah.
Swish, I'd love to know one day. One day you got to sit me down and tell me how you made all that money, because I made like $1.50 for 15 years.
Right place, the right time, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Can I tell another story about Swish real quick?
Yeah.
We were hitting the cage one off season, and Swish was trying to decide whether or not I was going to go one more year, call it a day. I was going to my big league camp with a different organization. You know, I've been with the Padres for 7 years. I'm going to the big league camp with the Royals. I was feeling pretty good, just got in the big leagues, and pulls me aside. He's like, "Man, it's so great, man. I'm really fired up. People are going to see what kind of guy you are outside of the Padres. Really great. You know, Deck, just understand, I made $114 million playing baseball." And he gets in the batter's box, and we're taking BP off a guy throwing maybe 40 from 45 feet away. Next pitch. Capped it, shatters his bat, and then just immediately turns around with nothing but a handle and goes like, "And I wasn't that good."
Hey, bro. Hey, man. I do know this, bro. Hey, I might not have been the best guy out there, but I tell you what, you know, like you're saying, all of us, I mean, all of us are now since retired, and, you know, being able to be in rooms like this feels like we're back in the locker room again. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of feels like all the stories and all the fun times that, you know, that you miss when you retire. It's like being able to do it like in this room right now. We're watching the World Series. We're talking ball. We're giving great insights on things. Like, people need to understand that, like, these are the conversations that happen in the locker room every day, right?
Well, trust me, if you told 9-year-old version of me I'm going to be on a Zoom call one day after I just watched like the 1997 All-Star game in Cleveland when Tino Martinez won the home run derby. Hey, you're going to be in a Zoom chat with Tino Martinez. I'm like, no, I'm not. Why would I be in a Zoom? And what is Zoom?
What is it?
Look at the other guys. You know how you look at the other guy's glove and you're like, man, he nailed that, right? Or you look at his bat and I'm like, man, I want that model. And then Cody Decker signs on. I look at how he's got a Zoom set up. I'm like, man, I swung.
I want that Zoom. I
got to get a whole other setup. Like, we got dominated.
Hey, wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna have you a boom mic over here.
I love this, man. Wow, right now, it seems like the Dodgers just cruising right now. Pedro Baez is doing his thing. And also, too, I think being able to have a huge lead like this also gives that bullpen guys a lot of confidence, too. Because right now, there's no pressure. You can go out there. You can make sure you're hitting your spots, making sure you're throwing that location. Because right now, Pedro Baez goes 1-2-3 in the 8th inning. All of a sudden, he leaves that game. He's ready to go game 2, and he's ready to go game 3. That is just added, just for him, that added confidence that these guys are getting right now, because being able to get a feel for that baseball is good for those guys in the bullpen.
Yeah, that's a good point, though, because the last thing you want to have your bullpen guys do is, like, sit for 2 straight days, then the day off, and have to pitch that third game, no matter what. That's a whole different game. Getting them in here tonight and tomorrow sometime is, whatever the situation is, going to help them tremendously going forward in this whole entire series.
Are they going to pitch to Randy A here with nobody on ahead this month? What's going to happen?
Randy
Hey,
A.
man, Cody, man. Hey, Rick ain't said Randy's name right the whole day, bro.
I've been messing it up, you know what I mean? But he's too cool to have that name anyway, and it's too long, so we might as well say Randy. It's like Madonna.
Randy.
Hot take. Randy Arozarena is like Madonna. Love it.
Right.
If you put Randy in the playoffs, there's no other Randy you think of instead of Randy Johnson, but he's a hitter, so it doesn't compare.
That's true. Hey, I got a question for you, Cody, just because, you know, you were a catcher at one point. As a matter of fact, you played a lot of different positions. But I think in general, right, if you're going out there and, you know, somebody like a Glasnow, right, that didn't have the start that he wanted, right, and you're his backstop, you're his catcher, right, what are you telling him right now? What are you going to go to him and tell him at this point in time?
Right now, at this point in time, you know, I would, if I'm Zunino, I'm pulling him aside and said, hey, man, get ready for game 4. right? Because we need you. And quite frankly, the Rays need him. It's either going to be he's going to be starting a game on short rest, or he's going to be Bumgarnering it coming in early in a game, and they're expecting a lot out of him. And he's the, I know Snell is the Cy Young Award, but Glasnow's their guy.
Yeah.
And he's their guy for the future. And, I know Glasnow a little bit. I caught a bullpen for him once because we're from the same area. I think I got a bullpen for him like 3 years ago. It was the scariest experience of my life. He's throwing 105. He doesn't know where it's going. He's just throwing it due south, and I'm there wearing not nearly enough gear. And my thumb still has this bump on it that I didn't have when I started that thing.
That is right. I mean, it's funny you say that because, even the Rays, they just told Zunino, set up in the middle, and just let him throw it as hard as he can and see where the ball ends up. Because as a catcher, bro, how hard is it to catch somebody throwing 100 when they have no idea where it's going?
How hard is it to catch a guy throwing 100 when you know exactly where it's going? It's hard, man. It's hard. It's just, I don't know. I got to give Zunino a lot of credit because I've never really given him a lot of credit catching behind the plate. I always thought he lets by too many pass balls, but man, he was really impressive today. He kept a lot of balls in front of him. He grinded it out. He wasn't put in the greatest situation, because Glasnow just didn't have his best stuff. But he really made a game out of it.
Hey, Rick, you were pitching right there, bro. I'm trying to think, off the top of my head, trying to think of the awesome catchers, one of your favorite catchers that you got a chance to throw with. Because nowadays it just kind of seems like, the defensive catcher is starting to come back, right? Yeah. Framing pitches is a real big deal. Offensive numbers don't have to nearly be as high. I think for us as the Yankees, Kyle Higashioka, we got to see him in the postseason, right? Gary Sanchez, the power threat of the bat, they went with more of the defensive side of the glove. So for you, who was one of those catchers that you wanted to throw to every time you took them out?
I got a great story for you. So Mike Matheny was probably the greatest defensive catcher that I've ever thrown to. And I'll tell you a story. So I was in Houston facing Craig Biggio. We got to 0-2 count, and I hated to shake. I just had a thing. So he calls a curveball, and I'm like, okay, I'll throw a fastball. So I just ran back and threw a fastball. Well, he missed it. Craig Biggio swung and missed it. It bounced off the backstop. And, Mike Matheny doesn't cuss, right? He just does not. He's just a solid guy. He came out to the mound and pretty much gave me the what the F are you? I hate to shake. He got so mad at me. He goes, you know what? And he was red and shaking. I'm going to go back and sit in the middle of the plate and you throw whatever the F you want. And he went back and sat in the middle of the plate for the rest of the game, put his hand behind his back, didn't call one pitch. Not threw a fastball, curveball, and he, on purpose, he just stuck it. Boom. Boom. And I threw hard, right? Or I thought I threw hard. He went back there and stuck every single pitch. It was just now what? Now. hey, he's not exaggerating. I played with Matheny for 2 years. He was that good. I mean, that guy blocked balls in between innings. The guy throws a ball in the dirt. He's blocking like it's the game time. In between innings, he's blocking balls. Nobody blocked the ball better than he did and put it right in front of him. It wasn't bounce that way or that way. It bounced right in front of him every time. He was ridiculous. I'll never forget that my 2000 rookie year, listen, he didn't have a great arm. He wasn't Yadier Molina when it came to arm strength, but his percentage of throwing guys out was 48 or 50%. Something ridiculous. You compare that to today's game, it wouldn't even be you wouldn't even be close. And that was back when guys stole. That was part of the game. Right? So when you talk about defensive guys, people don't even understand how good he was. Unbelievable.
Rick, so you're telling me he put down 2. He wanted you to throw a curveball. You said yes, and just threw a heater.
I had this. I just felt like hitters were following along. I had this thing. I was like, nah, Craig Biggio was the guy that he's going to know. And I just ran back and fired it. I was like, all right, fine.
Oh, God, I'm glad Matheny loved you, because if I'm back there, even if I love who's on that mound, I am punching him in the face on the mound.
The hardest part that he couldn't argue with is that Craig Biggio swung and missed it, right? So he was wrong, too, because he missed it also.
Yeah. Wow, man. Well, let's jump
on the right pitch.
Let's jump back to the game real quick. See, Mookie Betts, another base hit.
Oh, weird. He's on base?
Here he comes.
Corey Seager right there behind him. It's almost just kind of like that. They don't stop coming. They
as much as you guys were saying, hey, we're just going to throw our guys that don't matter. Well, what's happening now is you're getting the guys going that weren't going, and that's a problem for Team Effect. Because now
problem, but
already his confidence and brushed his shoulders off.
That is a problem, but also Fleming has now eaten up 3 innings for the Rays bullpen, which is huge for them. You know, like, yeah, the Dodgers bats got hot for 2 innings there in the middle of the game, but the Rays didn't have to use anybody out of their pen because of what Fleming has given them. And this is
I'm a big proponent of always finding the positive out of something, and I think you did a real good job of that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe looking, if this comes back.
I'm only busting your balls.
No, I just want the Rays in 6, man.
Him and Tino, they want Rays in 6, bro.
Yeah, 5 more games.
It's at least 5. We know that now.
Yeah, so, hey, Cody, you could talk to this, bro, because, you've been there behind the dish. And since we've talked about guys kind of struggling throughout pitching, right, we talked about what you would talk and say to them now. But when guys are going through that in the moment, right, how hard is it to get those pitchers to understand that, like, hey, we got to somehow find a way to get 3 outs this inning?
Hard. Depends on the guy, though. Like, if you got a guy you got to handle with kid gloves, you got to be just as much of his therapist as you got to be his catcher. And if you got a guy that you got to kind of kick in the ass a little bit, you got to kick him in the ass. I think one of the best pitchers I ever caught was a converted outfielder, and it was Jason Lane. Remember Laner?
Oh, exactly.
He's over in Milwaukee, assistant hitting coach. Jason Lane gets sent down to AAA and starts pitching left-handed. He throws 88 miles per hour. He's not bringing a ton of heat, but he's just trying to get you to his changeup. And I remember one time, and it was the only pitcher I ever caught that said this to me. He's like, I don't even want to see your body. I want to see your glove just inside the ribs of that hitter because I'm hitting your glove. Because if I don't, I'm hitting him in the ribs and putting him on first, or I'm throwing it over the plate, and it's gone. I throw 88. I know what I got. And he was the easiest guy in the world to catch because if he missed his spot, I would just go out there and like, hey, man, he's like, I know I missed it. Go back there. I'm like, this is easy.
Okay, this guy's great, man.
Love this.
On that point, I could give you two things that I thought were the funniest thing I've ever heard when I was going through the yips and throwing balls everywhere, right? I had a AAA coach. I walked the bases loaded. I'm throwing wild pitches. 2 runs have scored. A AAA coach walk out, calls time, comes out to the mound. When he got out there, he looks at me, he goes, hey, if you don't mind, go ahead and mix in a strike, if you would. Was the greatest thing ever, right? Like, you couldn't do that. Funny, right? It was like the last thing you expect someone to say, which I thought was fantastic. And I had another catcher who walked out and was like, hey, I know things are going real bad right now, but did you see that girl in the first row over there in the red shirt? Yeah, she wants me, not you, because I've ran over there so many times. But anyway, anything?
That's fantastic, man. Hey, well, Cody, bro, hey, man, I know this isn't going to be the only time that you're going to come on this show, bro. Hopefully we got 7 games to make this happen, bro. So hopefully you can jump back on for one of these games, bro, because I'd love to be able to have you, bro.
Hey, man, all I know is it was the middle of the 7th inning. You needed somebody out here. Swish was low energy, like always.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought in someone.
You know what I'm saying? Bring it back on.
You were embarrassing yourself. Actually, I got a quick question for you. I bet you guys talked Kershaw the entire time early on in the game. But what do you guys think? 31 and a third innings, only giving up 7 runs this October. Does this quench finally get rid of this Kershaw can't pitch in October thing?
Yeah, we talked about that for lengthy time. But yeah, there's no doubt. There's always been that sort of narrative that Clayton Kershaw hasn't been able to get it done in the postseason. Mm-hmm. But listen, bro, if he wouldn't have those back spasms, right, he might not be pitching right now, right? Like, you never know what could have happened in the NLCS. So for him to be able to get this second opportunity and take full advantage of it, bro, I think this definitely changes that narrative, no doubt.
I think the Dodgers have to win the World Series to completely change the narrative, right? Anything you've done good, like, it seems like your team has to go ahead and win the championship for me, you know what I mean, to go ahead and change the narrative. But I think he's proved himself, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he has too. I've always thought he was a great pitcher, and he got a bad rap in the postseason. But I think in this series here, if the series goes long and he gets another start, that next start is going to be huge for him as well.
Yeah. Humongous, man. Well, hey, bro, Cody, we got to let you go, my man. Thank you so much for sitting around. I'm going to hit you up later, bro. I definitely got to have you back on here, bro. I love your energy, man, no doubt.
All of you, thank you so much for having me on. Tino Martinez, I'm a huge fan.
Hey, awesome. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, Cody, tell Jen we said hi, my man. Tell her
Appreciate
you
it.
said hi, bro.
She's a diehard Rays fan. She's right there. She's mad.
Yes,
Put her on air. Put her on air. Let's see it.
no, she said she ain't coming. All right, man. Well, thanks, Cody. We'll see you later, baby.
Hey,
Thanks.
buddy.
Hey, Ben. I was
What
thinking, Ben, who are your heroes as coming up? Like, who are the guys you looked up to?
So when I was growing up, I was a big big Chipper and Andrew Jones kind of guy. But actually, it changed and got more old school as my brother got drafted by the Tigers and I spent more and more time around the organization. It really became Al Kaline, because of not only the way he played the game on the field, but the person that he was off the field. And I got to meet him a few times before I got drafted, and it was just really cool for me. And then I remember I had a pre-draft workout right after my junior year of college up in Comerica Park in Detroit. And I'm up there, and Mr. Kaline's there, and Dave Dombrowski, and all the brass of the organization. And I had met Mr. Kaline, so, I was excited to see him and talk to him. I remember I get my round to BP, and I'm hitting great. I'm hitting line drives the other way. I hit a couple balls out of the yard. I walk out, and I walk over to Mr. Kaline, feeling all good about myself, just put on a great round. And he goes, "Hey, Ben, a little nervous in there, huh?" And I'm like, yeah, definitely a little nervous. But it quickly became Mr. Kaline, and we ended up having a really cool relationship, when I was there, and we'd eat lunch together in the Tigers cafeteria. And I definitely say, my hero and the guy I looked up to on the baseball field was Al Kaline.
Right.
You too?
For me? No, it had to be my dad, bro. I mean, come on, man. Having a dad that played in the big leagues, bro, he was been there and done that. It was so nice to be able to kind of talk to him and kind of give me the kind of like the blueprint of like what's going to happen, right? Being able to deal with adversity. I think to be a Major League Baseball player, you have to be able to handle that. To be able to have somebody who had been there and done that and will fail, that failed more in his career than I ever thought of, to be able to learn a lot from the mistakes that he made, well, it was huge for me. But also, too.
Hold on, that seemed great and like a pain in the ass, right? It's like, so at first it must seem like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not listening to you.
I'm not listening to that. Totally. You'll be like, bro, what do you mean? You're like 210. What are you not listening to that, bro? Right? But at the end of the day, bro, how many dudes out there can say they played in the show for 10 years? You feel me? So, to be able to have a father who had been there and done that, it was so easy to listen to him because he understood it. And even if you hear him speak to today, he's such a passionate guy about the game of baseball. He's got that old school mentality and that blue collar mentality, which he gave to me. I just swagged it up with the chains and the wristbands and all that stuff.
Hey, Ben, where are you and Dustin from? Where y'all grew up?
Just outside of Richmond, Virginia. So I was a big, grew up a Braves fan when they were on TBS every night back in the day, in the Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox days. Grew up a huge Braves fan. And I remember I was a diehard. And I remember the day my brother got drafted, and he was second overall. And we had a big party in our living room. And I told him that day, I said, "Justin, I want you to do great, but if you play against the Braves, I hope the Braves win."
Both of you on that draft out of high school?
No, we both went to college.
Where'd y'all go?
Old Dominion in Virginia.
Oh, okay, good.
What about you, man? I know you're Tampa.
Yeah.
Who are your heroes? Like, who'd you look up to?
So baseball-wise, growing up, we didn't have a team here. We didn't have the Rays. We didn't have the Marlins. And the Cincinnati Reds trained right where the Yankees are now. So growing up then, when I was 12 years old, it was the Big Red Machine. It was Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan. Those guys were in the World Series at the time. And they trained in Tampa right there. And my dad would take us out of school probably about 3 times in spring training to go watch a play over at the old Alpha Field there, where the Yankee complex is now, the minor league complex is where it was at. And I loved the Reds growing up. That was our team, man. They were winning World Series. And my grandfather actually owned a cigar factory about a block from our house, 2 blocks from our house growing up. And Johnny Bench and Dave Concepcion and those guys would always go to the cigar factory to get some free cigars from them. So one year, I think I was 12 years old exactly, I still have a picture of my house, my mom's house. I should have brought it, but my dad told Johnny Bench, "Hey, do you mind coming over to my house?" It's really literally 1 block away, not 10 blocks, 1 block away. It's to meet my kids. And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So Johnny Bench came to our house and took a picture of me and my 2 brothers. in the backyard there, and we still have that picture. So,
Hey, how big were those dudes' hands, bro?
Wow.
so
How big
yeah,
were those hands?
oh, he was huge head. And then he, so that was when I was 12 years old. I think he was 12 or 13 years old. And my dad, they got him to sign it because he used to always go to Malio's restaurant in Tampa. It's a big popular spot for the athletes.
Still there? Oh, you know.
The old Malio's, yeah. And so Johnny Bench had his own booth there and all that. So he got him to sign that picture. And then in 1990, I hadn't seen Johnny Bench or talked to Johnny Bench since that day. And in 1990, I got called from Seattle Mariners in August that year. And in my mail, I get a card from Johnny Bench. I saw the actual, like a not a Hallmark card, but a congratulations type card.
Did he write it out? Did he write it?
Hey, and my dad had already passed away at the time. And he's, hey, your dad would have been very proud of you, man. Congratulations, good luck, Johnny Bench.
Wow.
All those years later,
I'm crying. I'm a Johnny Bench fan now, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, and Johnny Bench lives here in Jupiter right now.
I know that, yeah.
Tino,
Come down there and give him a hug, bro. Give him a hug.
Tino, we got a few more days. You gotta bring that picture. You gotta bring that picture and
Well, wait, how about we get Johnny Bench on the show?
Oh,
I don't have number, man.
yeah. You think he knows what a Zoom is?
I think he'll do it. I do think he would do it. We just gotta get a hold. I don't have his number, but I do think we can reach out to some friends and get it.
Yeah.
Rick, what?
He sent me a card.
Man.
And
That's amazing.
yeah.
Dude, that would be sick. Rick, what's your answer?
So I looked up to all the young guys. Right? I grew up a Braves fan, like I told you. So Ken Griffey Jr. and you look at all the whole Braves. So Steve Avery, remember when he came up young? I wanted to be the young guy who got to the league. Like Ken Griffey Jr. is my guy. I had that poster that was a tidal wave, right? It was Ken Griffey Jr. wave.
Yeah.
No, hey, so I faced him when he's with the Reds. I struck him out 3 times. My dad went in my room and put Cade and the date on it. Like it was still in my room, that I had as a kid. Ken Griffey was my guy. There's no question. But all the Braves. I mean, I could recite I can recite the whole Braves '90s. It's a chopper to chipper to McGriffer. You name it, man. I could.
You know he got it memorized, bro. You got it memorized.
Scoring the winning run to Barry Bonds, trying to throw him out. Like the whole Braves. Like I remember.
Hey, I
could definitely get McGriff on the show, by the way.
I'm a big fan. Love it. So I can remember.
Oh man, what is happening with this defense, bro? Out of control.
Yep.
Man, they're playing defense, bro. Hey, I gotta cut you guys off, man, because we gotta bring in our last guest. Right, we have to bring in our last guest to finish this thing off, bro. 2004 Heisman Trophy winner, 2-time NCAA National Football Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, bring him in. Noon this Saturday for Fox, Ohio State versus Nebraska. Ladies and gentlemen, bring him in, Mr. Matty Leinart.
What's up, Swish?
What up, kid? What's going on?
Listen, man, I can't complain. My Dodgers are about to win Game 1. That's all that matters.
I know. I know you got your kids, bro. I know you guys had some sporting events today for sure. What sports you have going on tonight?
Dude, well, my teenager was at basketball, so I had to take him to basketball. My baby's asleep, so now I'm hanging with the dogs. And I'm watching. I was live streaming at his practice, dude. I was watching the whole game, so.
That's good. Hey, so what do you think right now? I mean, Game 1, Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Obviously, a lot of question marks. Seems like he's put a lot of that to rest today.
God, I hope so, man. I was so happy for him. I mean, you guys all know better than I do, but obviously I've watched Kershaw pitch for like the last 15 years, and just, October, it hasn't been his month, and unfortunate. I was just happy to see him pitch great tonight. And then the bats finally came alive for him, Swish. They didn't come alive for him last series. So just a dominant game, man. So pumped for him.
Yeah, man, he definitely needs that. Definitely the leader of that franchise, face of the franchise for sure. To see him hoist that trophy over his head, I think all of us as ex-athletes, right, we would definitely want to see him, right? The resiliency that he's shown, right? The crazy 2020 kind of COVID season has been crazy. I got a question right now. I mean, obviously, you do our college football stuff for us at Fox. Just how awesome is it? And how, also too, how much of these guys and these athletes sacrificed to be able to give us live sports again?
God, I know it's incredible. Just watching from the NBA bubble, right? I mean, to watch what they went through and to go through that, and everyone away from their families, and it's been a tough year for everybody. It's been a difficult year, and I think we all were just waiting for sports to come back, and just to see the NBA do it, the NFL, not without some hiccups, but everyone is doing their best, and it's no different in baseball. I mean, baseball was, I think, the example of to get through this. But yeah, you're right, Swish. I mean, the sacrifice for these guys, to leave their families and to play a sport they love and to give us all of the people what we wanted and just to watch, man. It's been awesome. And where's Tino and Rick and all these guys, man?
They're over here, bro. We got Tino, bro. Rick, we got Benny. Yeah, we got all.
So I was like always a baseball first. I blew out my arm, unfortunately, when I was pitching when I was 14. But I was baseball. But I remember, especially Tino, watching you with the Yankees. You guys were teammates with New York, then, I'm assuming, right?
No, I missed Nick.
No, Tino played with the Babe, bro. He was before me.
Listen, Tino was the man. I don't care what you say.
I appreciate it, man. I love watching you play as well.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I feel like
I've been a lifelong Dodger fan. My dad grew up in Inglewood, and the Sandy Koufax era. Grew up and watching them, and then Dodger Blue has been ingrained in us. So it's been a rough couple years to watch them get to the World Series and come up short. I'm just hoping this year is different. Seems like it, but we'll see.
Matty, this is Rick Ankiel here. Listen,
Hey, Rick, what's up, man?
So I'm disappointed that you blew out your shoulder for this reason. Listen, I was in the big leagues from 2000 to 2013, which means if you'd have skipped college and you wouldn't have blown out your shoulder, we'd have been in the big leagues together, and somehow So I've seen your career. Love you. I think you're great in everything you do, everything you've done after football. Man, I think we could be good friends. Is my point. So
I'm still waiting for the invite to Swish's backyard barbecues, man. I mean, I haven't got that invite yet either.
You'll be the first guy on the list, brother.
Come on,
it, man.
Now that it's got 50 acres, we can all join in.
You guys have no clue how much I wish I had played baseball. my oldest son plays basketball and football. He likes it. He's a pitcher too. Big kid, throws hard. He's just, it's his third sport. But my baby, man, he's going to be a baseball player for sure.
Oh yeah, man.
So
if you've ever seen him, bro, he's already bigger than Matty, and Matty's a big guy. I mean, right there, the game right there, Mookie Betts.
How big are you?
Say it again. 6'5".
About 6'5".
6'5", bro. Good looking, bro. Doing it.
Of course he's good looking. That's what he does.
Well, Matt, congrats to your Dodgers for the Game 1 win there tonight. Big Game 1 victory for your Dodgers there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, that's what we needed. I want to ask you guys, and I know Tampa's got great pitching, but gosh, just how they made it through the AL with the Astros and the Yankees. What do you guys think? It's just dominant pitching, right?
Yeah, I think, we've talked about it a little bit ago. Just the Rays seem to be that type of team where they have to keep it close. If the game is too far apart, you can see they're not made to score 10 runs a game. That's not the type of offense they have. And, Eric Karros brought up a great point earlier today talking about, it's the Los Angeles Dodger bullpen facing the Rays, not anybody else. So, I think that they definitely have a little bit of advantage there. But, I mean, come on, bro. For Dodger fan, this is exactly what you want. Clayton Kershaw goes 6 innings, punches out 8. You end up, Mookie Betts gets hot, right? Cody Bellinger goes deep again. They end up winning the game 8-3. So, come on. As a Dodger fan, bro, this is all you could ask for right now.
Dude, Mookie, watch out, man. And by the way, his base running, I was watching at practice, that was incredible. That really sparked those guys, I thought, that inning.
Yeah, this is going to be great, man. Well, hey, Matty, bro, I know you got on here late tonight, but we got to have you back on again, bro. I know you love baseball through and through.
Listen,
I know you know the game front and back. But man, wow, thank you so much for coming in here, bro, for the short time, dude. Give some love to your fam. You've got a beautiful family, bro. And, you know, hey, as soon as this pandemic gets over, bro, get back in the studio, bro. Keep going again, and then we'll get some good times going, man. So thank you.
All right, Swish.
Matt, great talking to you, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, see you guys. Thanks for having me. Good to meet you guys, man.
Dude, thank you.
All right, man. All right, man. Hey, well, guys, I mean, that was it, right? Game 1. Hey, World Series watch party, bro. We killed it, man. What an amazing time. I'd like to thank our guests for today. Eric Karros. We had Maddie Leinart. We had Cody Decker. We had Jake Odorizzi, man. I cannot thank those guys enough for being on here. As well for myself, Rick Ankiel, Tino Martinez, Ben Verlander. Thank you so much. Check it out. We got Blake Snell on the mound tomorrow versus Walker Buehler. We'll see you guys there. 8 o'clock. Come check us out.